Gene is amazing. He's amazing in a way that he can just play anything. If you need him to shred, he'll shred. If you need him to play some weird Eastern sounding thing, he'll do it. You need him to play they could just make anything convincing. And that's a really unrecognized skill, because not a lot of people can do that, especially where it sounds completely authentic. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my excited and a little bit scared co-host, Alexander Volts. Say hello.
Hello. That is my life lately.
Yeah. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today, finally, we'll be discussing every album by
Ween.
This has been...
You guys, you want, and you know what? You guys show up. I said, no means no. We can crack 1,000 quickly.
Yep.
That's the important.
Yep.
You guys better come through.
Got to come through with Ween. All right. Because this has been asked for a long time. This has been one of my favorite bands for about 10 years. I think about 10 years. I have heard all of these albums already. I'm a huge Ween head, and, many of you are as well. And it's one of those bands, it's one of those bands where so many people have heard something, have an idea, have heard at least one song that has been in a very famous animated movie. And then the rest of us not the rest of us, but the rest of people who often think of them as just like, oh, that's some nobody silly little band. Who cares? And those people would be wrong.
Yeah, because we were talking about wrestling off mic. You think you know me. Exactly.
But Ween, God damn it. So this was this won one of our Patreon polls. So go to patreon.com/everyalbumever to vote on polls to decide who we'll cover next. There's also a bunch of other perks on there. You can suggest artists for us to cover on these full episodes as well as bonus episodes. It's a whole bunch of crap there. We'll plug it more later. But this one, this was in multiple polls. And each poll, I was like, come on, boys, let's do Ween. It lost the first poll to MF Doom. So go check out that episode because it beat Ween. And this time, Ween dominated. I forget who it was up against, but...
probably another upcoming one. We're like, it keeps losing, but we're going to force it on you guys.
There was one other one that kept losing that we knew that needed a chance, and it finally gave me a chance. But for now, Ween, okay. So have you prior experience with Ween?
No, although I feel like through osmosis, there's like a few. I know how I heard the one song because it's kind of popular, but
I'm imagining that's Ocean Man.
Yeah,
very famous song.
There's a few. I have no idea where I've heard them. I know I've heard them, not including you. Off the top of my head, I know one open Ween fan, and not that well, and he's like one of the most obnoxious people ever. So that makes me think of another thing, because Ween fans have a pretty bad reputation. And if you're a Ween fan watching this, I'm one of you, so fucking chill. But it's a rabid fan base. It's a rabid fan base. I'm going to assume they're like Primus fans, where I can say the music, the guys writing it are brilliant, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But you people.
It's the same with Patton fans, and I'm funny enough wearing a Mr. Bungle shirt where I screamed at one of the people in the audience for being obnoxious. I guess makes me one of those shitty fans, but that guy was being a dick. But
you were in the right.
Thank you. But Patton has really fucking obnoxious fans. Primus has obnoxious fans. Ween has obnoxious fans. I'm a huge fan of all of those, so I guess I qualify. But
you guys need to fucking relax and be
cool. We all love it together, man.
We can like weird stuff, but still function in society.
There is some stuff that drives me up the fucking wall. Not about Ween fans. It's actually the opposite. We're I'm a huge fan of Jordan Jensen and Ian Fidance. They have a podcast called Being Ian with Jordan, and they generally have they're big into punk. Jordan Jensen has generally pretty good taste in music, and she brought up like Ween. And I was like, oh, cool, Ween, but she only knows like the famous songs. And then someone on there said like, oh, who would you put, Ween or Weezer? It's like, that's a stupid fucking question for one. And
just because they have
nothing in common, just to have the WEE. But like also, if you say Weezer, you're showing your ass. Like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because first of all, Weezer has like one good album and like
It's two, Mike.
Okay, two good albums.
Two good albums.
And Ween has one of the most remarkable discographies that's like really untouched with most bands in terms of variety and diversity and like sheer uniqueness with like with implementing really established genres. So like they'll plenty of bands we'll fuck around with this is a funk song now. We'll do a fucking funk song. But I've never heard anybody aside from Ween do it in a way that's like, oh, that's still a Ween song. It's still fucking awesome. It just happens to be legitimate funk or Latin or whatever the fuck genre they decide to fuck country. It's like, it passes in both worlds. Like that's a great fucking Ween song, and that is a great country song. Very few artists I can point to that do that.
There's a level of commitment to and sincerity, even if the lyrics are funny sometimes, or a lot of times. This is very very overwhelming for a newbie.
So I'm actually very curious of your whole process because I mean, I gave most of these albums just a once over because I've heard them all so many times before.
Yeah.
And I heard them over the course of several. Well, I actually mainlined when I first discovered Ween, and I discovered that I was like, oh wait a minute, I need to hear more of this. I kind of bought every album like really quickly. I was like, I need more. I was like, fucking, I have every album in my room by them right now. But like for someone who just comes in with a band this fucking eclectic and all over the place, how do you feel at the end?
I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. I'm going to take a long break. And there's two albums I want to revisit at maybe like 3 to 6 months. And then I'm going to like gauge it from there.
That is a little disheartening to me because I find so many of these albums to be fucking amazing. I can listen to these for the end of time. At least one of these is legitimately one of my favorite albums of all time. And I've pushed it on the people, countless people throughout the years.
No, that's, how do I say this? Because I didn't mean it as it's just, I was going to wait till we started talking about the albums, but the first two are like, they're not meals. They are the richest, most texture flavorful appetizers. And there's 50 different appetizers that are all unique, that are all different and are great to outstanding. But when you're eating food that rich for the first time,
it's a lot to take in.
I don't know if that helped clear the picture. Like I have very few negative things to say.
Yeah, I have some negative, but it's always been like I was always just sort of like lukewarm on this thing and never really thought about it. And then now I can go back and think like, oh, this is what I actually feel about this particular album.
My musical taste buds are overwhelmed.
There is something for everyone with Ween. There is something for everyone here. It's amazing.
Sometimes it may only be for like 2 minutes or something, but it's there.
It's there. And even there's a lot of stuff here that I feel very comfortable putting on in front of anybody.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it actually that I keep like handy in case I need to put on music and there's a normal person with me.
I mean, there's a reason Ocean Man is in the SpongeBob movie because
it is fucking catchy as shit.
Yeah.
I do love that song quite a bit. But we have some notes here from our boy Tom Osman. Go follow Tom everywhere. He digs up dirt for us and gets us albums. He's a cool man. He got us this is from, he has notes from an interview with Dean Ween from 2018 on the Music Is My Life podcast, as well as another story from Dean regarding the recording of Quebec, which is from 2014. And that's about it. Most of it's just, straight from Dean's mouth. There's also the first for this this show, an actual message to the viewers and fans from Tom himself. This is from straight from Tom. He says, to the Ween faithful, and also imagine all this with a wonderful, ambiguous European accent. He says, I don't know for sure, but something tells me that among your ranks are some hyper pedantic keyboard warrior Uber fans living in a state of perpetual readiness to pounce on any perceived irregularities or omissions when it comes to their beloved Ween. Should this be the case, I say to you, don't be like the Red Cross fans. Don't, but also check out the episode. It's a good episode. But the fans are kind of fucking pussies. Sorry, but
also this, because I know how much they loved it. I'm just gonna say it. I don't even believe it. It was just one song, but I'm just gonna say it to piss people off. Red Cross sounds like the Vines.
He goes on to say, if you spot something on the show that you know to be inaccurate, or there's some tasty tidbit about whose girlfriend's sister's cat was used for a photo on the inner sleeve of one of the albums that doesn't get mentioned, be happy that you can make a contribution and post a friendly comment, helpfully informing the show and viewers of something they might not otherwise know. The world will be a better place for your contribution. Patronizing, condescending, confrontational comments don't help anyone. They make you look like a petty tool. Be a force of good in the world. Peace and love, Tom. Thank you, buddy. That was eloquent and beautiful. And yeah,
damn, that's pretty cool from a Weezer fan to say.
That's why he wrote that. Listen, we all know Weezer's better than Ween. So it just gets out of the way now.
Rivers Cuomo, this is songbird of multiple, not just one generation, multiple generations.
Man, I fucking have always found them to be the most overrated band in the fucking world. But then again, I'm coming from Camp Ween. I'm saying it's from Camp Ween.
Ween is good. Ween is good.
Ween is good. So anyway, this comes from so for those who don't know, Ween is made up of Gene Ween and Dean Ween. Of course, those are not the real names. They're Christian, God-given names? They're not. They're biblical God-given names. I'm afraid it's not the same Gene from the Bible. It's Gene is Aaron Freeman and Dean is Mickey Melchiondo. And I think it's how you pronounce that. I think it's Melchiondo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but
I like Melchiondo.
Yeah. So it's them two. They've been playing together since they were fucking babies, essentially young boys, probably 16 or teenagers, and both on guitar, Gene on vocals, sometimes Dean on vocals once in a blue moon, and then eventually mostly Dean on guitar and then and Gene on vocals exclusively, especially at least for like live performances. It's always Gene on vocals by itself for the most part.
Have you seen them live?
No, it's always been like I need to see them, and then they broke up, and then now they're reunited, but like sporadically, and I've missed every reunion show.
I'm gonna let you test the waters, and you can let me know what that's like, and then maybe I
remember seeing a live performance of theirs. I think maybe it's on YouTube, but it was from like 2004 or maybe 2005, and it was so good.
Oh no, I fully believe they're a great live band. I don't know if I want to deal with.
Oh, you mean like the experience of it?
This based on that one guy.
The
one Ween fan I knew that I talked about it.
Right. You mean
I don't want to deal with the crowd full of that guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope there'd be a lot more like just they're there with the people they love. I hope they'd be cool. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But they're really convincing live, like really fucking amazing arrangements of these songs that sound like they have like a million overdubs and a bunch of goofy cuts and stuff. They pull them off really fucking well live. But this is from Dean. Dean recalls his first exposure to music came from his dad's record collection. Dean said that his dad was into like soul, doo-wop, old country, and then later on funk. He says he remembers his dad singing like old Hank Williams, Bob Willis, and his Texas Playboys, George Jones, Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson. He also had records by Parliament, a diverse record collection that later included Kool and the Gang. All these crazy, wild, diverse influences make so much sense when you hear some of these later, like mid to later albums.
Yeah, for like modern past 20 years now, it's like it's cool to listen to everything, and there's still elitists who are like strictly I only listen to this, but for back in the day, that is,
and no one was like jumping all over the map doing a million genres, so it's kind of amazing they even got signed at all. But he was later turned on to Ziggy Stardust, Leonard Skinner's One for the Road live record,
Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. But apparently the Beatles was the big one. Dean says they've always been his favorite band. So I guess they met in junior high typing class in '84. Dean and Gene, and they were both doing a bunch of fucking weird music shit on their own. Like, apparently Dean first got a drum set and then a guitar, which he tuned to a chord and then played up and down the fretboard with his thumb. And he'd record himself playing drums in the basement and then go upstairs and play guitar, copying the tape from one boombox to another. And I guess Gene was doing kind of similar stuff at the same time.
Little side quest here. Speaking of maddening ways to play guitar, have you seen Lil Wayne play guitar?
No.
You would get mad.
Really?
It pissed me off, and I don't even play guitar.
What does he look like?
He doesn't use a strap.
Oh, he just holds it?
He holds it. So he's picking with his thumb.
Fucking idiot.
That is holding.
Yeah.
And then, so because of that, he doesn't go, I guess it'd be considered lower if you go up, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't play lower notes because he fucking can't, because he's like holding it like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
And like his thumb isn't behind the neck. It's like,
oh my God. So he just stinks. He just can't play the fucking instrument. It sounds like a complete rookie. Yeah.
It's been going on for a year. Like no one's
going to correct him. He's loaded and he's extremely famous. No one's going to be like, hey, no, you're not supposed to. There's a strap. Maybe you could sit down. Would you like to sit down?
He has a strap on the guitar, but he doesn't.
All right. Fucking, he stinks. What can I say? What can I say?
Sorry.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I heard the playing with his thumb thing and then Wheezy popped into my head. I'm sorry for that.
God damn, that dude sucks. Apparently Gene's dad was a hippie. His records included Nina Simone, the first two Velvet Underground records. Check out that episode. I hate them. And Richard Haven's Alarm Clock, Beefheart. Check out that episode. Love Beefheart. And they both love Devo, Laura Anderson's Oh Superman, and Dr. Demento.
Check out Devo.
Yeah, hell yeah. Love Devo too. I think the first song they wrote together was You Fucked Up, which we'll hear. I think it's the opening track on the first album. And Dean says that by this point he started becoming obsessed with Hendrix and Zeppelin. Check out both those episodes. Dude, man. We did have a nice
a fucking backlog.
We have a fucking archive of, we've covered so many fucking albums on this podcast.
For so little money.
So little money. Please join the Patreon. So that's Hendrix and Zeppelin is when he's like, all right, I'm going to be a guitar player. And to his credit, he became fucking great. He's a very, very good guitar player. Also his fucking, I'm sure everyone watching this has already seen his episode of, the Noisy channel took it down.
So it is noisy. Was it all noisy?
It was on Noisy, but it was a specific
guitar moves.
It was guitar moves. They're gone. They're off YouTube now. All those episodes. But it was guitar moves, which is it was on the Noisy channel. And it was with Dean Ween, and his episode on that was like the fucking best. It was so charming. And he's such a real dude. He's like, Dean Ween really reminds me of Mike Watt.
Mm-hmm.
The way he talks, he's just a fucking blue collar, salt of the earth, just regular dude, really funny, but just not trying to be. He's always himself, no matter what.
Yeah.
Check out the Minutemen episode, by the way. And on there, he was talking about where I come from. There's just two kinds of guitar players. The ones that have their guitars above the dick or below the dick. I suppose that is the two type of guitar players.
He probably wouldn't be upset at Lil Wayne. He'd be like, "Oh, you're above.
You're above the dick. You're above. You're."
Who cares how you're holding it?
Oh man, but. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have too much about the origins other than them linking up when they were kids. And who cares? Because there's a lot of fucking music to dive into.
Mm-hmm.
But the first record that we're going to be covering is like, it's not the first thing they ever recorded.
There's EPs and live shows. Yeah,
there's like little things before that. But this first album is like, all right, we're going to get all the stuff we recorded over these years. And we're going to put it all on one album. And apparently, according to Dean, everything they did during high school, it was recorded in Dean's parents' basement, all with real drums. And he says a lot of people didn't realize that those are real drums. But in 1990, Dean's parents sold their place, and he and Gene found their own place to live, and that's where the rest of everything happened. So yeah, before this first album, they had like Erica Peterson's
Erica Peterson's Flaming Crib Death, The Suicidal Squeegee Lip, the Live Brain Wedgie, Wad Excerpts, Ween 2, Axis Bold as Pugnish. All little demo tapes, little stuff with a lot of overlapping songs, different versions, of course. And then this first album, because today how many albums are we talking about? 11, 12? How many? 10.
Plus 1. 11.
Oh, yeah. Craters of the Sack.
Yes, there we go. That's
so 10 and a half.
10 and a half, sure.
Craters of the Sack is, fans know it, but it's not like an official release, but we're going to talk a little bit about it when it comes up later on. But aside from that, 10 albums that we're going to be talking about. First one came out in 1990, last one 2007. And the first album, so it was put out on Twin Tone, which I didn't realize. And there's a lot of Rollins band overlap with Ween. Andrew Weiss, who was a long time, or maybe not long time, I don't know how long he was bass player for Rollins band. He was a good while he's bass player for Rollins band, at least for like a lot of the albums I like.
Would you say he's a legendary bass player?
Legendary. Theo Van Rock mixed it as well. He's also a mixer for Rollins band. And then it was the recording engineer was Greg Frey, which did a couple Foo Fighters albums apparently. Yeah, might as well fucking get into it. There's a whole lot to talk about. This has been a bit of a lengthy intro. So here we go, baby. This is the first album. Here we go. 1990s. GodWeenSatan, The Oneness.
I was not expecting a sledgy garage rock
with scream vocals. Not quite Ocean Man.
I mean,
good lyrics though.
I don't think there's even another song that's you fucked up either.
Nope, there isn't. So this is basically the first song ever.
Coming in cold, I had like no idea how crazy the guitar playing was either.
Dean is a fucking awesome guitar player. So that song is a delightful, chaotic opener. This album fucking rules.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have expected anything, but for some reason I thought this was going to be a rougher listen. And the only thing that makes it a hard listen for new people is the sheer amount.
It's a long album.
Like I said, you have like 27 appetizers.
It's literally 29 songs on here.
Or 29.
Yeah.
You have 29 appetizers. This isn't a main course. You are at a food truck rally. Sounds weird.
Food truck rally.
Well, food truck rally, and you're sampling everything, and you're going to throw up at the end, but there's a lot of cool shit you're going to eat.
There's a lot of cool shit. And so this is actually the last Ween album I ever heard. I heard this one after every other album. And because of that, I kind of neglected it. It was at the tail end of my, like, when I was going nuts on it.
Yeah. I actually, everyone's different, but I actually think that's smart to not go in linear fashion.
It's a tough band to go. My introduction, I think, is a bad introduction to them. I got I'll get to it when we get to the albums, but I started out with an album that I shouldn't have, and it took me longer to get into the band as a result. But this, I kind of neglected this one. I didn't love it as much. It was one of my lesser favorite albums for years. Going back to it now, it's fucking so good. It's I don't even know how to. Okay, this is gonna be a hard one to talk about because there's so many songs,
and they're
so
mostly
different.
Short. There's a few normal ones, a few long ones, but mostly short.
There's a couple really long ones, but they're all within a minute and a half, under a minute, sometimes 2 minutes. And they do so many fucking different things. There's so many different, I have my notes for this album they're ridiculous. They go on and on and on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of fast stuff. There's a lot of, I guess, moments that can kind of be like, oh, that's punky. That's garagey and punky. There's a lot of that where we won't get too much of that later on. There's a lot of scream vocals. I mean, like Fat Lenny, just so much.
Fat Lenny, yeah. Like, I thought of Beefheart. I thought, especially like Lick My Decals Off, because they're talking about licking things in that song. So
Lick My Decals Off from
sorry.
Captain Beefheart. Yeah,
That's what it's.
yeah. Let me lick my decals off, baby.
Yeah. So I thought of that song.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're talking about licking things, and the vocals were, I thought, Beefheartian.
Dude, I mean, there's also when I think of like the quirky, goofy stuff. Maybe not Beefheart exactly, but vocally it made me think of that. I Got a Weasel, which is just it's like jokey, and there's a lot of jokey shit on here. I mean, it's Ween. It's gonna be very jokey, but those vocals are just, it's really swinging and it's really grabbing and it's charming and it's fun. It's like, there's actually solid riffs and really good guitar work. Even if it's a joke, it's still like fucking kind of well done.
In my brief research, I guess that's also like one of their earliest songs too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's like among the earliest songs they've written.
There's 29 songs on here. Well, on the earlier pressings, there was only 26. Hippie Smell, Bumblebee Part 2, and Stacy weren't on the original. But 7 songs in, and every single song is so different. I mean, Tick. I mean, what? I mean, it's catchy as hell, and it hits really hard, but it's just ridiculous. I'm in the Mood to Move really reminds me of the Butthole Surface. Check out that episode.
Yes, there are Ween songs. I wrote it once, and then I kept writing it, so it is like a repeat. There are like bad acid trip songs, very similar to Butthole Surfers. Yeah, definitely some weird fucking trips. What was it? Bumblebee is pure chaos with these ugly notes and a really cool ride cymbal. And there's always this batshit guitar solo. The whole thing fucking works. And then it leads right into Bumblebee Part 2 for the reissue. It sort of just feels like one big song. Mm-hmm. If you put the 2 tracks together, Never Squeal is jazzy, smooth, swinging, completely different from everything else. I mean, it has a clean talk singing. Like if someone heard lounge music and was like, let's play it fast.
Exactly. Let's make lounge music very fun, essentially. Fucking Up on the Hill is nuts. I mean, it's like acapella gospel soul. And it's like, it's ridiculous, but I was like, all right, I don't enjoy it musically. It's kind of great. And then the instruments come in and it turns into like a higher energy rock. And I'm like, fucking, it's fun. I like it. It's just too quirky and goofy and fun and with legitimately solid hooks.
It's crazy in 2 minutes. Yeah. Old time R&B type song. And then it turns into a CCR song, which makes sounds crazy, but also like if you're a big CCR fan, also check out that episode.
Hell yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. This sounds like really energetic young kids with a lot of tenacity and a lot of talent listen to a ton of fucking music and just, all right, let's go wild. Let's just fucking write it all.
Yeah.
Wayne's Pet Youngin' has a 25 count intro, which is fucking hilarious to me. It's like basically a punk song, really distorted vocals, but very fun and very cool arrangements. But it'll be a lot easier to talk about the bigger songs because the first one is Nicole. How do you feel about Nicole?
I wrote that as a thumbs up. It probably doesn't need to be 10 minutes.
It is 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Not exactly 10.
No, I know, but I mean, it is long.
Leave me alone, weirdos. So I was like, you know what? Anytime a white band does reggae and they don't do the accent, that's good. That is good. I like it. It probably doesn't need to be that long, but I like it.
That's so close to me.
And then I would eat my words later on the Cucaracha.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But here, very
Yeah.
smart. Didn't try to do the accent.
No, it is a silly reggae song with really goofy harmonized vocals, and it does have an admittedly catchy main hook.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work for me. I do like it more the more I hear it, but it's more like a Stockholm syndrome kind of enjoyment of the song because I just don't like reggae. Even when it's silly and goofy, it's really hard for me to like jump on board.
Not openly reggae.
No, I'm not openly, not yet.
Not even closeted reggae.
In my own private life, I am not reggae. And but yeah, it could be worse. And it's also 9 minutes, so it doesn't work for me. But then if we're gonna jump to another lengthy song, we gotta go to Let Me Lick Your Pussy. Which I remember when I first heard this, and I was so annoyed by it. Like, this is fucking almost 9 minutes of this. I love it now. I fucking love it now.
Because it made you listen to Two Live Crew, and then we've covered Tim Buckley.
Yeah.
Like we've laid the groundwork for you to love this song.
It's fucking, it paid off because it's a semi cover of Shakadelia and parts of Alphabet Street by Prince, like semi cover. But the way these guys do funk makes me love funk. Like, this band is the reason I decided to give country a shot. This band is the reason I'm okay with funk. This band is the reason I'm okay with like Latin music, along with Mr. Bungle. It's like Ween and Mr. Bungle made me like genres I would never even ever dream of touching because they just did it fucking great.
Yeah.
They do funk. Ween is my favorite funk band, essentially.
They do funk well. They
sure do.
Very well. I'm gonna no comment on that one.
I love it. I love
they do
it
it well. Yes,
but it is a funny song. It is a funny song, and it's an actually catchy song. What do you think of Hippie Smell? It's only a bonus track, but still.
Yeah. So they do dabble in country, as you said. That's one of the more like overt country things on there, and also like maybe even like they're probably more like peers, but I could see like a Dino Jr. doing that song. Dinosaur Jr. if you want to use more syllables.
Yeah, of course. More syllables. That's a wild song too. It's definitely hippie sounding, but I like it.
Yeah.
Really busy drums going wild and stuff. And then, halfway through it goes through the shift and gets very jammy dad rock kind of feel to it. But it's solid. And it's funny how that has that much range and it's fucking 2 minutes long.
It's impressive. It's a lot to take in, but it's impressive.
That's a lot of what this is. This isn't a fair album to just, like a lot of punk albums, I guess. It's not really fair to go track by track because even though you can dig into each song because they're all so like, dense. It's really the whole package that feels like a certain thing. No other Ween album feels like this one.
Whenever I have that like initial knee jerk reaction of like there's too much here, it's moving too quick. I think like the first album I know I had that feeling too was the like Minor Threat.
Oh yeah, Minor Threat. Yeah, episode
where I was just like what is this? And then after like now I can like. I'm like, no, these songs are different.
Yeah.
And these are obviously very different. But yeah whenever I get the like fatigue, like whiplash of like, that was too much, I just like, just breathe and maybe come back to it.
Yeah. I listened to this like a punk album, even though it's fucking 76 minutes or whatever. It's a very long album. I still can enjoy it like a punk album where it has this really earnest, raw presentation to it. The production is good, but it's not like sparkly, clean, giant, crunchy or anything. It just sounds good and even. The way I find Double Nickels on a Dime from Minutemen to be perfect production for that band, where it's like you don't even notice it because it just feels like the band was meant to sound like that.
Yeah.
These songs feel like they're meant to sound like this. It's like there's nothing really dirty or abrasive or like distracting about the production. It's just very, very comfy.
Unless it's supposed to be.
And my exception is Puffy Cloud, the closer, which sounds the most like a demo compared to everything here. Has this electrical buzzing kind of going throughout. It's cute. I don't love it. Has these really monotone, half asleep vocals. There's a lot of, especially on like the next album, there's a lot of, these vocals are singing like this, and this is how the song goes. I mean, it's very jokey in that sense, but it doesn't work for me much on that song. I also don't care for Marble Tulip Juicy Tree so much. It's 5 minutes, and you get a little taste of, they do a lot of pitch shifted vocals, a lot of artificially higher and lower voices. I think Ocean Man has the pitch shifted lower vocals. They do that a lot. I'm generally not a fan of that. Like, I don't like that sound. I tolerate it with Ween because the songs are so fucking good, but most of the time I just kind of tune it out.
Yeah. They're definitely more annoying vocals they do. I get what you're saying about the like, yeah.
It's silly, it's funny, but it's not like musically invigorating, I guess. There's a lot of interesting moments in Marble Tulip Juicy Tree as well, but it's so late in the album and it's long and it doesn't do enough to hold me at that point after 70 fucking minutes. Also, Squelch the Weasel is pretty fucking funny. It ends with them incorrectly playing the intro to Roundabout by Yes, which I think is pretty fucking funny. It's also really a fucking great song. I think it's a big, it's like a big crisp acoustic ballad, but fantastically written, a really moving guitar solo. I mean, there's just you pick a fucking song in here. There's like so much to say about it. It's really fucking dense.
You brought up Latin rock, but failed to bring up El Camino.
El Camino. So it's their first, but not last, over the top Spanish song,
and kind of like a nod to, if not cover of like White Rabbit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. There's a lot to listen here. I don't remember if it was like a tip of a hat or like
just
cover, but still a minimum gives off that vibe.
Yeah, it's got, you're right, because I'm thinking about the marching band snares in there. Yeah. It works. I enjoy it. It has like Gene is doing the really silly accented vocals, and he'll continue to do those silly accented vocals for every Spanish song.
It's so funny how I'm like, yeah, don't do the
reggae accent, but do the Spanish one.
Yeah, that one still offensive, but I could tolerate that.
Man, I don't care how offensive it is. Voices are funny. Part of my job is listening to funny accents.
Yeah,
and I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah,
but this album fucking rules. I like it way more now than I ever did before. It's so fun. It's a bad place to start with them, I would imagine, unless you're really big on garage rock and punk and I don't know, silly music, I guess.
Yeah, it like runs the gamut of all these different things, and it helped build their fan base. But yeah, it's just a lot to take in.
It's a lot. Apparently, this is recorded on a 16-track tape in Andrew Weiss's living room. Like, how does it sound this fucking good?
Why did I think they were using 4 tracks?
4 tracks is the next album.
Okay.
Yeah, this one actually sounds good, and the fact that it was we recorded in the living room. Fuck it, man. And Dean described the record specifically as being like a kind of greatest hits of Ween from like the earlier stuff, and it makes sense that everything after this album is going to sound a pretty good amount different. Like this one, it has like the most, I don't know, youthful, carefree, fun energy to it.
Because you know what, I'm surprised, and hearing that quote, like it would be like a fun like concept album. It's like it's a greatest hits, and the band is this. I mean, it's what they do.
It is what they do. That is the funny.
Pretend every song is from a different band.
Yeah, a lot of these could really pass off as just different bands.
Yeah,
they were insanely diverse even this early on, which is super fucking impressive. But so this album, the last thing I'll say before we move, because we got to move on.
Yeah, we do.
I know this album sets up what they'll do for the rest of their career without actually sounding like it very much. It sets up the crazy diversity, the goofiness, the silliness, the genre hopping, the deep, complex, big, emotional songs, but it doesn't sound like anything they'll do later. But it does the things that they will do, just in just doesn't sound like it. But I think it's fucking awesome. It's a great debut and probably a favorite amongst fans, I imagine. But time to move on. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hell yes. So now we're moving on. This came out in 1991. Is this their first? No. This was put out on Shimmy Disc. So their last record, I think, independent.
Mm-hmm.
This is 1991's The Pod. Oh, crank it.
I think it's going to get louder.
So I don't know if it is. Or maybe it probably is. You're right.
I got my finger on the volume button. Cool.
No, it's not. Yeah, crank it. So this is one hell of an opener. Fucking hilarious.
So this is what I mean about the funny vocals, the slurred, mumbly, I'm drunk vocals.
Yeah, this is like an old-timey rock band, and you just walked in on the last minute of their set.
Except this is the whole song, and it goes on for 3 minutes.
The band's just doing a big outro.
It's just that's the whole song, and they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. It's actually very funny.
Is it enjoyable from like a song standpoint? No. Which is why worst, least favorite.
Really?
Yeah. And go ahead.
I had issues giving that title out.
So did I. I mean, I like this album a lot. I like all their albums. I'm a giant fucking fan. But if I have to pick a worst, I'm going to pick this one. It came close between one other one that I think has a strong argument, even with fans, to be worse. I picked this one because this is as an album experience. I'm not talking about the fucking amazing songs that are on here, because there are amazing songs in here. As an album experience, this one is insanely long. It's 76 minutes. It's recorded with the most lo-fi, shittiest 4-track recording. It has the worst production, and it has the worst pacing. Literally, for the first 9 songs, 9 tracks in a row, it's I hate it, I love it. I hate it, I love it. I hate it, I love it. And that's just like, it's just too inconsistent. There are songs on here that I think are just, they're not like shitty songs. They're just really over the top, goofy, complete jokes, and not really good for multiple listens.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. But the songs that land are so fucking great. Like Dr. Rock is the follow-up track, which fucking rules. I love that song.
It's fuzzy vocals with riffs that, like, it could be a Cheap Trick song.
Yep, exactly. Sounds like shit, but it's a great song.
Yeah, it's funny because the song lengths are more of the normal variety now.
Yeah, no more. There's no 8, 9, 10-minute songs on here. Very few minute-long songs.
Yeah, they're mostly in the 3 minutes. I found this to be similar to the previous album, but different. It's still a ton of variety. And overwhelming to new one, but I'm just like, yeah, there's this a lot of weird, interesting stuff that I need to like marinate on. There's stuff that sounds like a Beck song on mescaline, like Frank.
Frank is pretty fucking cool. That's a good example of the low pitch shifted vocals. He actually reminds me of Buzz. Melvin's on there.
Okay. This is like the beginning. I would maybe like to do a playlist where it's just all the different parts of the stallion, because I'm like oddly invested in
there's like 5 parts or something
throughout many albums.
Yeah, and this is part 1. It's one of the meanest and heaviest things they've done yet. I think it's fucking awesome. Even has like, cowbell and tambourine. It's all a drum machine, but it's very twisted, very, very dissonant and ugly. Very cool song.
Yeah, it feels like you're in the like a caricature of like Detroit or whatever. It's just crime ridden. There's like sirens going off in the background, or that's how I felt listening, and it's crazy. It's
very fucking cool. Pollo Asado is one of my least favorite Ween songs.
It's just ordering Mexican food.
It's just ordering Mexican food. Is it silly and cute? Absolutely. Is it kind of funny and fun? Like, absolutely. But like, it's just a jokey thing with him using a Spanish accent, ordering food. What was it? And then you get right after that, right to the ways and the rules of the world, which is one of their best fucking songs. It's a total Bowie homage, and go ahead.
Also, yes, I got the Bowie vibes, but also, and this is just me being weird, like I was like, fuck, sometimes it sounds like the band Suicide doing like medieval music. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else.
It's interesting. Check out that episode on Suicide.
That's a deep, weird pull.
That is a very interesting pull.
But Ween would be the band to be like, what if Suicide played
medieval? That is interesting. I think that song is, I think it's truly fucking beautiful. It shows how amazing writers they are, because even though it's clearly inspired by Bowie, it's kind of a Bowie homage song. They're not just mimicking it. These are like, I think absolutely brilliantly written progressions in vocal lines. Like I think it's an all-time favorite of mine.
Yeah, and that's like something they do throughout their career. They're not just like and you said it. They're not just like mimicking or doing homages. They're taking these styles or these bands and they're just like putting it through like the Ween filter.
Definitely. They're just so talented at writing different types of songs that when they try a different genre, it feels very natural. Mm-hmm. Where like some bands and artists, they have just such a distinct writing style that they wrote like we've beaten this example to death. Josh Homme, where like, when he wrote a song because it has or Dave Grohl, perfect example. When he wrote a song, at least like a Foo Fighter, like it has like these types of progressions. Whereas Ween they're so fucking varied and diverse that you can't really point to, that's a Ween progression.
Yeah. There's
just so many different types of things that they do. Demon Sweat is basically like their version of a Pink Floyd kind of song.
It's weird. It's like this almost like minimal electronic funk. And then it has like those like flanger, like No Quarter, Planet Caravan vocals.
Yeah. At 2 minutes 30, bass and organs come in and it gets really big and really moving. It's fucking, and it's rules.
I think that was the first song where like the guitar playing like really really caught my attention.
When he shreds, he fucking goes for it. He's absolutely awesome. Don't Sweat It is another one of the more serious songs on here. Strong moving riffs, solid vocal lines, hilarious drum machine that doesn't fit at all, but it's still fucking cool. Okay, I kind of know I feel like I know what you're gonna say, but I still want to ask anyway. How do you feel about Oh My Dear, Falling in Love?
That's the most normal song they've ever done. Or at this point, it's just
maybe
this feels normal to me.
For some reason, I love it so much.
Interesting.
It's corny and sappy and cheesy, but it's just beautifully written. And it's also like the intentionally out-tuned guitar harmonies are pretty funny. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just like a really cheesy, sweet kind of love song. It's almost kind of qualifies as children's music. It's so like dorky, but I fucking love it. I think it's beautiful.
I do love following that up with sketches of Winkle.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, I kind of wish they had like a side project or they just did like a metal album.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could say this about any genre. When they go metal, I love it.
It's rare, but they can get pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah.
It's super cool when they do. It's not often. But yeah, that one is really, really aggressive, super chaotic. It's one of the more rough sounding recordings on here. But a lot of this does sound pretty rough.
So there's two bad trip songs.
Yeah.
Laura.
Yep. But
most notably, the standout one to me is She Fucks Me.
Oh.
That is, at this point in their short career, that is the king of their bad drug trip songs. It is a totally accurate portrayal of what time distortion feels like on shrooms. It just it can be a bad time.
Holy shit.
In the best way possible.
That song does annoy the hell out of me. That is not a song I enjoy on here. I mean,
I felt like that for hours. Just listen to that song for hours.
I don't want to. I'm sorry you had to. That's one of my this album has some of what I think their best songs ever, some of my favorite songs of theirs ever. And then every other song, Captain Fantasy, I think is like, all right. It's very like arena rock kind of Kiss sounding. I don't love it. kind of, it's okay. Molly annoys the shit out of me. Like, I don't know. It feels like it never ends. It's only 4. It's to be fair, it's almost 5 minutes, but
I thought you would like Molly. I feel like fans of Brainiac and Suicide would.
I thought of Brainiac.
Yeah.
And that might have been the only time no, that's not the only time I thought of Brainiac with this band, but,
it's so funny how compared to Ween, Brainiac looks so normal.
That's the thing was like with a band like Brainiac, it's very much like how I feel about like a Drive Like Jehu. Both episodes you should check out. Where I love that band, I don't like bands trying to sound like that band. Not that we're trying to sound like them, but I'm not necessarily. I'm not going to be like, oh, this band sounds like Brainiac. I have to hear them. It's like, Brainiac was a special thing.
They were very good at what they did.
Yeah, it's not like that type of song is a selling point. They just happen to be spectacular and special.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like that about Ween too. But Can You Taste the Waste is, man, I just don't love it. The DI guitar on this album does sound pretty rough in spots. I think it sounds pretty bad on that song. I mean, it's like very, thin and buzzy as DI distorted guitar often sounds. But Boing is another jokey one that I don't really care for. It's same with mononucleosis. It's like, it's not awful. I just never cared for it. Alone, I don't love Alone. I don't love Moving Away. There's so many songs on here, and a lot of them was like, I could take her to leave it.
Some of those songs have got beats, like fucking rad beats that should be like sampled.
Oh, I'm thinking of with Moving Away.
Yeah.
I think Gene sounds like, coincidentally, Eugene from Oxbow. He really reminds me of one there. Yeah, but other than that though, like, and there's also, it closes with the Stallion Part 2, which is definitely one of my least favorite songs on here.
But you need it for the saga.
You do need it for the saga, but I don't love it that much. And yeah, so it's like, it's always kind of been my least favorite. The one where I've listened to it so many times because of the songs I love on it, but I've always found it be like, man, this album is really long. It's really kind of, there's like a ton of absolute fucking gems, but there's an equal amount of songs that I can never listen to again and be fine. The diversity in here is truly insane, for better or for worse. Plus it's like, it's just the worst produced. It's the longest. It's the hardest to sit through beginning to end. From like an album standpoint, it's like just the least consistent, I think, out of all of them.
I had a very similar reaction as I did to the previous album, while acknowledging that this is a different beast. I believe the consensus is that this is considered like darker. I think there's like a few. You know what? I bought up how it has beats for days. If you scroll down a little, I think there's like hip hop or like electronica. I don't know where I read that. Maybe it's a different album. Never mind. I thought there were like, oh yeah, Aphex Twin.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like those songs where I'm like, oh, Aphex Twin probably sampled some of that
sense.
shit. So like, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely darker than the first album. There's not as much. There's still, there's a ton of jokiness on here, but the serious songs are way more serious and way more intense. And it also sounds like it should be the first album. It has like the roughest recording out of every album. This is the roughest sounding album by far. It's the 4-track album.
Recorded in a barn too, right?
Was it?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were looking up the barn thing.
Oh, no,
Never mind.
Dean describes this for this record and the next one. He says the sound took a total shift as a result of him and Gene moving into a small apartment together. Squeezing a drum kit in there wasn't an option, so using a 4-track, they went into more of what people considered to be lo-fi and experimental, quote unquote, but it was only out of necessity. Dean confirms that phaser, wah, and echo have remained his go-to guitar effects all the way to this day. He's always played Stratocasters and always wanted to emulate Jimi Hendrix. He quotes him. He says, "I've tried other stuff, but that's my thing now. At this point, there's no way backing out of it now." But he does it well.
Committed to the bit.
Definitely. And still has his own personality with it easily. But yeah, the pod, my worst and least favorite, always been my least favorite out of all of them. Still has fucking, man, some of the greatest songs they've ever done on here. But it's a tough, lengthy listen for me. But time to move on. Man, it's hard to speed up talking about these albums when I have as much, and there's fucking 8 left.
I'm gonna let you.
Shit. All right, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Okay, now we are at the fucking end of an era. They have been signed to Elektra. How? I don't fucking have any idea.
Someone go back in time and let Sleep know that Ween is on Elektra, and they're better off going to Elektra.
Better off going to Elektra.
If you listen to all of our stuff, you'll learn the saga of Sleep.
The saga of check out that episode. It was a great episode.
Dope Smoker.
Great episode. Great album. So they're signed to Elektra. I don't know how this happened. I'm glad it happened. And they'll be signed to Elektra for a while, which is even more baffling.
Elektra is clearly the cooler record label.
And the same record label that dropped the Stooges. After Funhouse didn't sell well, when it's their fucking greatest album. Check out that episode.
I guess it depends what era you get in and who you know.
Yep. So here it is, everybody. Their major label debut. This is 1992's Pure Guava. Hear that high budget production?
I was like, how do you even talk to people about this song? Like,
you can't, but I love it. This is it. Half the people listening to this are like, oh, this is kind of fun. And the other half are like, what the fuck is, that's just what this is. Either you love it or you don't. I love it. This is a beautiful, beautiful progression. Sure, his vocals are completely half asleep. And it has a fun, funny, thin guitar and a drum machine. But I think it's fun as hell. I love that opener.
I'm still seeking out my feeling, and it's like net neutral for me.
This I neglected it a little bit. I listened to this one a few times this time just because I heard it a lot, but not as much as some of the others. This is one of the sillier albums for sure.
They're all, well, to me, they're all silly.
They're all silly, but this one is like a really good indicator of like the silly drum machine era. You can kind of count the pod in there as well, but this is like, it's like the peak of it for me. Like the pod was very budget and it had a lot of weird craziness and darkness to it, even though it was still goofy. And then the album after this is like, they still have the drum machines, but they're weaning off of it, pardon the pun. And they're going into, more diverse kind of like genre specific stuff and full live band and stuff. Here was like drum machine, quirky, silly, weird, impossible to categorize into any genre. This is a weird fucking album. I mean, this is one of the weirder albums for sure.
Yes. So one of the big ones, and I hate it. Like, it's the most like offensive, annoying vocals to me is Push
Little Daisies. It's their first hit.
That's I have to have like remembered the Beavis and Butthead episode. I don't know where else I heard the song.
I didn't see it on Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, like so many bands, it's kind of like it helped them.
Dude, Push Little Daisies, like I've cited it in the past as like songs that blew up for a band that didn't make sense. Like for a band like Ween, they have, countless just fucking brilliant songs. And that's the one. I like the song, but it's like, this is not going to win people over.
It had to be the like Beavis and Butthead effect. And I also think there are like weirdos who just kind of like, this like speaks to part of their soul, hearing those fucking like vocals.
The vocals are really, they're basically chipmunk vocals.
It's something else.
Well, chipmunk vocals are very squeaky and this is just really high. It's just pitch shifted higher.
I think it reminds me of like when girls do the like, oh, I'm just a little girl.
The baby voice.
That's what pisses me off.
I didn't get too many baby vocals out of it. I didn't hear like them using W's instead of R's and stuff.
It's kind of like in the tight, like dropping the the E off the.
It's I didn't hear it as like a cutesy thing. I did hear it as though a little kid was like a baby was singing. It sounds like a baby is singing.
Yes,
it definitely sounds like a toddler or something. They are pretty fucking annoying. I don't like, but the song itself is like it's kind of like a Van Morrison song. It's a pretty cool song. It's actually kind of catchy. The vocals are just very, very, very impossible to ignore.
You know what kind of chaotic mess I can get behind, and it's probably offensive to other people, but you know, for me,
with that
Reggae Junkie Jew.
Reggae Junkie Jew is, I just enjoy the fuck out of it. And what kind of song is that? How do you explain what kind of song that is?
I can't. It's just an electronic mess, and the bass line fucking rules.
Yep. It's super groovy, but with a bunch of synth like marimbas. Is that what that is? It's like
sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, super complex rhythm, really schizophrenic spoken vocals. There's something really satisfying and hypnotic about it.
Yeah,
it's like that's the kind of song that I would love to hear in like a Sega Genesis era video game. And if it was on loop for 3 hours, I wouldn't care.
Yes,
love it. I actually also love the Go and Get Tough from the get go. There's just, I don't know, I could say that about so many songs. Where like, oh, it sounds like unlike anything they've done yet. Because basically every song is unlike anything they've done yet. But that one is just, it reminds me of something I can't put my finger on. Like talk group sung vocals, funky. It's just weird, but I don't know. It's something really alluring about a lot of these songs.
Yeah, I think something that's like always in their DNA, but feels more prevalent in like these like darker electronic spaces, because it's also there on I Play It Off Legit, even if it's just like it's just people talking over it, but it's like the instruments are so fucking cool, and I totally get why like Aphex Twin likes these albums.
Oh yeah, that song does fucking roll. Play It Off Legit. It's really chilling, really mellow, but it's still dark, like you said. And this is kind of like the percussion album, even though it's all a drum machine. They seem to have like the most marimba sounding things on here, a really groovy beats to a lot of these songs, and it's also like the most overt pitch shifted vocals out of all the albums. It's like it seems like we're going to go extreme with the goofy vocals on this one.
Yeah, probably like one of the least like funk driven albums from them. Like the funk is always kind of prevalent, but here I never really like found myself thinking about funk music too much.
No, you like the closest would be Reggae Junkie Jew, and it doesn't sound like funk.
No,
but there's just so many things that it's where a lot of their albums you could point to is like, oh, that song is this kind of music. That song is inspired by this band. A lot of this is like really blurry and weird, and it's kind of its own animal.
It's meant to destroy your speakers and earbuds like Morning Glory.
Oh wait, yeah, that's yeah.
And of course it's like 5 minutes. Of course it is. It can't be like an interlude. It's just
it sounds like, it's kind of it sounds like it's in between radio stations with that kind of static. It has a lot of. I don't know why I like it. I do. But I can see why it would annoy the hell out of people.
Look, we're talking about Ween. You can try to justify why you like things.
It doesn't matter. Like
it doesn't. Yeah,
it's not that kind of band. It's like, do you like it or not? That's simply it. There's no convincing.
Yeah.
But I do like a lot of like the Stallion Part 3 might be my favorite Stallion. So sure that the vocals are annoying.
It's not the Italian one.
It is not the Italian Stallion. The vocals are very, high pitched and annoying, but the song is like genuinely well written. I really, really wish that he sang it straight. Like that's how fucking cool the song is. That's just a pet peeve of mine. But I also love Big Jim with those really more of those muttery, deep, slurry vocals where he's.
They successfully managed to make vocals sound like didgeridoos.
Yeah, they do a lot of fucking goofy shit like that. God damn. Flies on my dick?
I thought the lyrics didn't really like, I was like, oh, these are going to be overtly funny. I like the guitar riffs. I like the like thumping bass on there, but I think Touch My Tutor is my favorite funny song on here.
Fuck, I don't love it. I mean, it is funny. That sounds like Brainiac to me. That the vocals really reminded me of Brainiac, that one.
Yeah.
What else do I love on here? I mean, there's still so many songs in here. Fucking
Don't Get Too Close to My Fantasy is awesome. Another Bowie inspired song.
Yes, which, they're like just pumping out songs. So it's like, oh, it's another Bowie song, but it feels like an eternity since they've revisited Bowie.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound like the track from the pod. It sounds, it's a different, Bowie had a lot of range. So it's natural that them doing Bowie would also not quite be exactly the same. And I love that acapella section at the end. It's just fucking beautifully read and feels really full and great. It closes with Poop Ship Destroyer, which is insane novelty music. I mean, it's too weird not to enjoy for me. There's just fuzzy bass swells and sounds like children's toys. But there's a lot of tracks that don't do it for me. Kind of like in the middle, like Pump It for the Man. Don't love it. Same with Sarah. And I Saw Gina Crying to Sleep. Like I said, Touch My Tutor. Hey Fat Boy Asshole is another one that it's jokey, it's funny, but it just doesn't do much for me.
They are the Spencer gift shop of technical musicians.
Yeah, it is. This album does feel like Spencer's Gifts. Holy shit, yeah. Man. Better watch your back for that. Some fans are like, he called them Spencer's Gift.
Am I fucking wrong? You can go in there, you can find silly shit, you can find sex toys. Sounds like a fucking Ween album.
It's a pretty hey man, who doesn't like Spencer's Gifts?
Also, yeah, just embrace it. It's a fun store to go into.
It's a fun store to go into. And it's a fun album to go into. It's not one of my favorites, but I still find myself liking it quite a bit. Yeah, it might be one of my lesser favorite albums, but there's still all-time favorite songs are on here. Like every album has at least a couple all-time favorites.
Yeah.
So fuck it, man. I still dig it.
I'm sure every album is someone's favorite album with a discography like this.
I kind of like that. I would hope so. This was mastered by Howie Weinberg, who has done many records from the likes of Hank Williams, Rush, Genesis, Zappa, Glenn Branca, Suicide, check out that episode, Motorhead, Bob Marley, The Clash, check out that episode, Kenny G, Tom Waits, Danzig, check out that episode, Slayer, check out that episode, Ghetto Boys, and Swans, check out all those episodes. Holy shit, that's really diverse.
Insane.
That's
insane.
Ridiculous. But this next album is a huge shift. They're now using a band for the most part. They got Claude Coleman Jr. on drums, who will be kind of with them off and on forever. Mm-hmm. And you got some additional bass by Mean Ween on bass. I don't know his name. I'm sure someone does. Howie Weinberg also mastered this next one, but there's plenty to get into. It's a big album. Let's get into it, baby. This is 1994's Chocolate and Cheese.
You're going to tell me I can't buy a poster of this album cover at a Spencer's Gift?
Yeah, it definitely could. This song, one of my all-time favorites. Fucking,
It's...
I gotta get away from that girl. I go crazy.
They said, what if instead of Bowie, we do the Doors?
Yeah. I never thought about the Doors, but you're right.
I immediately.
Yeah? Check it out on the Doors. Dude, I distinctly remember being 20 years old, listening to this song while dating a girl that I was no longer interested in dating, and hearing this song and being like, all right, I get it. I need to end this. This song helped me realize it.
I think I was in... I don't know how I would have reacted to this at 20. It was I liked weird stuff, but I don't know if I was ready. I don't know.
This is a goofy album. This is, I think, one of the favorites among fans. This is a pretty big album for them.
That makes sense. I
like it quite a bit. It is probably one of my favorites, but I don't love it the same way most Ween fans do. I don't think.
I'm still trying to figure out.
This one's This one's crazy. This is where they start becoming. We're trying all the genres. We're doing all the fucking genres. You're not gonna guess what's gonna come next.
I mean, at this point in my journey, I think I can't put my finger on it. It's dirty, it's funky, there's Latin stuff. It's weird. Their approach to psychedelic music, it's always like, it's psychedelic, but it's not in like a fucking obnoxious like worship way.
Yeah.
Going back to like, they know how to take these things and put them through the Ween filter.
Yeah, they're still like songwriters first and foremost. So that opener is just fucking incredible. And then it follows it up with Spinal Meningitis, Got Me Down. Such a weird follow, but such a fucking awesome, catchy song.
Every song's a weird, like, I would have no idea how to like arrange these tracks.
No idea.
Yeah.
How to pace this album would be very confusing. There's one thing I don't like that Freedom of 76 is fucking track 3 because it's one of my least favorite songs. It's like a kind of like a dad rock homage, soft rock type thing. Mm-hmm. It's not even a bad song. It just halts the momentum as track 3. But even then, like, it's completely unlike anything else in the album. And they follow it with I Can't Put My Finger on It, which I think they performed it on like Letterman or Conan, I forget.
Oh, I need to look that up.
It's such a fucking, of all the songs in this album to play on TV, they chose that one. It's like bizarre. It's such a fucking crazy song.
I get it.
It's a cool song.
That song is the king of being a buffet song where you get so many different things.
So many things. It's like, it has like an almost Asian sounding chorus with this Middle Eastern twang on the verses, a bunch of percussion. It just, and it's also goofy with these distorted vocals. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
it works.
It's quirky. It's funny. It's cool.
It is the platypus of songs.
It's a platypus song. That's 100. Jesus Christ.
You describe it and you're like, that
can't be real. That's not a fucking thing.
It's not an animal.
It's exactly what it is.
That's a mythical beast.
Fuck. The pacing of the first chunk, I think, is like always been an issue with me, but like as it goes on, I appreciate Roses Are Free. I have a fondness for it, but I just don't love it that much. I love the circus guitar solo though, or circus solo rather.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
In some ways, maybe I'm being shallow because they're singing about flowers. I was like, it does kind of feel like a spiritual successor to Pushing Little Daisies, but it's better because the vocals aren't annoying.
I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the pacing, what I think about it being kind of iffy in the first chunk is like A Tear for Eddie follows I Can't Put My Finger on It, which is, it's super, I think it's beautiful, but energy wise, it just feels odd.
One of my I think like people who like Funkadelic, like one of the like most popular like standout tracks is like Maggot Brain, because it's unlike anything Funkadelic really does. It's like that's it. It's this really like somber thing. I believe, I apologize for forgetting the guitar player's name, but I believe like George Clinton told him like, I need you to play like your mom just died.
Yeesh.
And Ween, there's so many tracks throughout their whole career. They've somehow like made like the track Maggot Brain into like its own genre.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty rad.
Let me tell you something, brother, to piss off another rabid fan base. I listened to Baby Bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fucking what's his face from Neutral Milk Hotel.
Oh, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. No. Jeff Mangum?
Let me finish. Let me finish. He could never. Like this Baby Bitch, that's the song he's been chasing his whole career to write.
You want me back over? You want me back over? Check out that episode, by the way.
I lost you in the first half. Got you in the second.
Got me in the sequel.
Yeah.
Baby Bitch is another all-time fucking favorite. Dude, there are high pitch shifted vocals on there, but they do sound good. They're kind of integrated better really on that song.
I also like it's another like reoccurring thing of like somber, serious music with
ridiculous, hilarious lyrics.
Yeah.
Hilarious lyrics. But beautiful chord changes, extremely hooky. Man, I can listen to that thing for forever. I absolutely love that song. Other favorites, Voodoo Lady. I mean, when they go funky, they're just so fucking good at funk.
Yeah, that's another song. I don't know where I've heard it, but I've heard it.
Yeah.
And like it's infectious. You know, if you kind of like roller coasters of love and you're like, I need more of that. Like this kind of scratches that itch, but it's totally different.
Yep. The percussion sounds so satisfying. It feels perfect. It's really groovy.
They've had it. I feel like they had to play that. I just like hear it and I'm like, I could see it in Beavis and Butthead. I don't know it, but
Roller Coaster of Love wasn't, but
that's probably why.
But Drift in the Dark is this acoustic old-timey folk song. But there's something really endearing about it.
It's also maybe like their most serious song at this point. You
mean lyrically? Because I mean, some of the fucking songs off the pod were super duper serious.
Okay, I didn't look up but initial like I was like, man, there's nothing real silly going on here.
Yeah, I mean, but the song does sound like weirdly kind of like non-threatening, which is, I guess, a little ironic considering the title of the song too.
Yeah.
But Joppa Road is fucking gorgeous. Really acoustic, really heavily strummed acoustic guitars kind of carry that one. Really gentle and like pretty chest vocal harmonies. And it has this killer classical guitar solo on there.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
The way you feel about that is how I feel about Buenos Tardes, Amigo.
Buenos Tardes, Amigo.
That is the best spaghetti western song I've heard from a band. Like it's like a little mini movie.
It's a mini Morricone song.
Yeah.
It's fucking very cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the best Spanish influenced songs, including the accented vocals.
And of course, you got to follow up an epic Ennio Morricone kind of tribute with a silly circus song about HIV.
The HIV song is one of the funniest and best songs ever. It's so fucking great. It's short. It's a circus song.
It checks a lot of boxes for Mike.
He just says AIDS. I mean, that's the lyrics. HIV and AIDS. Those are the lyrics. And is it carnival music? Yes. Is it amazing? Also, yes. I fucking love it. Actually, the final chunk of album is truly amazing. Like what Dina was talking about is fucking great. Beautiful, acoustic, emotional, really insanely well written. It's songs like that where they're super simple on the surface. They seem like, oh, it's a song you put in a movie. It's a regular, normal, mainstream song, but it's just so, I don't know, those progressions are just original. I haven't heard that before. Like it's simple, but you haven't heard before. It's so hard to do that.
I would also say, well, they're up until there's maybe been like a song or two where you're like, that's crazy guitar playing. And of course the songs are technically crazy, but I think this is like the first album where it's like a sleeper, like guitar classic. Like you're not going to see this on any list, but I think people who like are like passionate about guitar would be like this fucking album.
It's because like Gene is amazing. He's amazing in a way that Trey from Mr. Bungle and Secret Chiefs 3, the way he's amazing, where he can just play anything. If you need him to shred, he'll shred. If you need him to play some weird Eastern sounding thing, he'll do it. You need him to play they could just make anything convincing. And that's a really unrecognized skill, because not a lot of people can do that, especially where it sounds completely authentic.
Yeah.
Like, this is a completely different band entirely, but Trey played on King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime from Faith No More. And if you listen to a song like Evidence from Faith No More, and you listen to those guitar lines, super jazzy, buttery smooth, beautifully done. Really like, oh, that's a jazz guitarist. But he's the same guy who did fucking Merry Go Bye Bye. Like that's that kind of skill that Dean Ween has, where no, he could just do all the things and you'll never even bat an eye.
Yeah.
That's
true chameleons. Also, maybe, he gets his fucking roses, but I would also, and a lot of people don't realize, I would also say like John Frusciante, just to be able to like mimic Omar's guitar playing on multiple albums, and no one like really like, they're like, oh, that's Omar. No, it's John Frusciante.
Oh, interesting.
Omar the Mars Volta.
Check that episode.
How much I love like Omar and they're just Omar and Cedric to me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, who else are you gonna be talking about? The Entertainer? I don't think so.
Sometimes.
And then it closes with "Don't Shit Where You Eat," which is another all-time favorite. I mean, so there's a lot of like acoustic songs on here, but they don't all feel like, oh, here's another acoustic song. They're always acoustic in a different kind of way. Like where Joppa Road has this really lively, I don't know, it feels like you're in a field kind of open acoustic guitar sound, where "Don't Shit Where You Eat" is a very closed, very simple, just like 3 chords kind of thing, very contained. And then of course you get like "Drift in the Dark," where it's just, folky and very lonely. It's just
like a drifter in the dark. Oh wait.
Jesus. Like a drifter.
It's Dio covering Ween songs.
I was doing fucking Roller Coaster in the Roller Coaster of Love, but with
I was singing "Rainbow in the Dark."
Oh, goddamn Dio. But still, some of the songs on here, like, I think they just hurt the pacing, and I don't love them so much. Like "Candy," I don't like. It's like the only song on the album that I think would fit right at home on the pod or Pure Guava. It's cute and quirky, but I don't love it. What is it? "Mister, Would You Please Help My Pony?" It's another soft rock kind of jokey song. It's cute. I like some good moments in there for sure, but I don't love it. A weirdly paced album that happens to have a ton of fucking brilliant songs on it.
I would say for some people, maybe even me, this is a good entry point.
This is a pretty good entry point. It's still going to be like, oh, that's silly. That's funny. I don't think it's the best entry point, but it's not
every
a bad
album though.
There are 2 albums that I think are like, this is if you have trouble with this, I can't help you. This one, with this album, I can see like, okay, I get it. I mean, that song is Candy's kind of weird. I don't expect the newbie to be like, oh, Candy, that's a weird fucking song. There's still moments on here where it's like, yeah, all right. But the songs that hit are just fucking incredible. I mean, they've grown considerably from the last album. It's like exceptional how much they've grown in 2 years just by adding like a drummer and bass player and stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, the cover. This is a fucking goofy one. So it has like the girl's like under boob with a Ween belt. Apparently that's Ashley Savage, who's apparently a Penthouse pet.
Doesn't sound as good as Playboy Bunny.
No, not quite. Also,
do you know what Girls and Hustlers are called? Are they this
hose?
Hustler horse? No,
horses down. That's meaner than hose. Yeah, there's not not a lot of info on this model. Like I think I found someone trying to write one of those 33 1/3. Those miniseries, those little books. It's usually about one specific album. There's like a ton. It's a whole series.
Yes.
There was someone trying to do one on this album, and then
you know what? When this came out,
which one?
Fucking Body Count.
No, check out that episode. They were trying to do one on this album, and they said that Ashley was like disappeared off the face of the earth. Like no one had any idea. Like there's not even any like info about her Penthouse stuff. Like they say that she was a model, but there's no evidence of that. But apparently, according to Tom here, he says the guys they actually wanted a gay sailor theme for the cover, but the record company weren't jazzed with that. That would have been way funnier.
It would have. I should have worn my Torch t-shirt where it's like a gay sailor with a bondage lady on it.
Ah, interesting.
So your Ween lives on through Torch merchandise who aren't around anymore. So I guess it doesn't.
Guess it doesn't live that much. Apparently, somewhere around this time, Ween was playing on bills with jam bands like Fish. On that style of band, Dean has this to say: "I'm not going to name names, but I'm just going to diss every single band on that scene. Jamming is Deep Purple in Japan. That's jamming. Yes, live. King Crimson. It rocks. It jams. But it's in the context of a song. It's not all the jam. Plus, a lot of that stuff doesn't rock at all. The Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, James Brown, jams. But you can't just start off with a jam. You're going to do a 20-minute song and it's pre-planned? Well, that's bullshit right there. I'm always waiting for the moment when the distortion kicks in. 10 minutes into the solo, all of a sudden the flanger in distortion, you got the echoplex and you're freaking out on acid and your fists are in the air. It just doesn't happen. I think that's where we come in."
I don't know exactly what he's talking about.
No fucking idea. At the end, he kind of goes up into this just fucking like 1,000-yard stare moment, but
I think I agree with him.
100%. Yeah, I've talked so much shit about jamming in past episodes because like when it feels like it's also like an in the moment kind of thing, and then it also really depends on the piece. Like there's some pieces that just you feel like you don't want them to end. There's others where it's like you're just playing a fucking hard rock riff for 20 minutes, and what's the point of that?
I'm going to see the Mars Volta this Saturday again for the 20th time. So
we'll see. Ooh, okay.
I'm excited for jamming.
That is also a different kind of jamming too. They do more of the experimental, crazy kind of jamming.
Hopefully Dean is a fan of the Volta jamming.
I wonder.
I feel like he would be.
Yeah. But this it's a good fucking album. The first big step into what we're gonna get a whole lot of next. So this next album is a little bit of a detour, a very unexpected album, a very strange album. But let's get into it, baby.
I'm glad it's here. This is our third week covering country music.
Indeed, because this is 1996's 12 Golden Country Greats.
I never thought. I didn't even know if we would venture into country music, let alone 3 weeks.
Yep.
Worth of it.
Also, there are only 10 songs on this album.
Beautiful.
So this album title is extra great.
Of my mind that time cannot erase.
This is legitimately beautiful. I quite love this song.
The future, the past.
Wheeler's next album, should this be with Wayne?
To waste.
That would be so great. That'd be so great.
All these feelings I have, and hoping for them to come true. And I'm holding something more precious than fine ore. Baby, I'm holding you.
Those slides.
Breathing.
It's beautiful. This album is what made me give country a chance.
Okay.
I love this album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2023. It's the year I sincerely got into country music.
It has a lot to offer.
And yeah, the stars just align. Like here's some more.
This album, holy shit, man. They just made a country album. And not every song on here is country. There's like a couple that are like definitely not country.
Or even, like Piss Up a Rope. There is like weird electronic stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But it's legitimately great.
Yeah, it's like a honky tonk song. It's super vulgar, hilarious. It's goofy and dorky, but damn it, it's fun as hell.
One of their best songs.
Oh, it's so fun. Japanese Cowboy is full on hoedown music, really fast, really fun.
Very lively.
My favorite song on the album as well is an all-time favorite, I Don't Want to Leave You on the Farm. Truly just fucking gorgeous. I mean, so well. I remember being in the car with my mom years and years ago, and I put that song on, and she's like, this isn't like a country song. I mean, it sounds like country, but that's not a country song. That's exactly what this album is.
Yeah.
They're like, they're not really country songs. They're played like country songs. They have the lap steels, and they have the backup vocals and the brushes on the drums or the whatever. They have all the aesthetics of it, but structurally they're just Ween songs.
Mm-hmm.
I Don't Want to Leave You on the Farm is like just a beautiful kind of pop ballad, but just happens to be about cowboy stuff and feel like a cowboy song.
Yeah. Kind of in the same vein. And I feel very much the same way you feel. Like Powder Blue is also
so good.
Yeah, it's like blending some like 60s pop sensibilities. The lap or steel guitar. I don't know what's which or even if they're the same, but it fucking rules.
That chorus to Powder Blue is truly one of it's fucking godly.
I just assumed it was a cover song.
Yeah, it's not.
Like that's how good they are at this, like channeling these genres of music.
It's amazing. It's incredible. I have trouble naming even a single other band that can do it like this. Maybe just Mr. Bungle really is kind of the only one that comes to mind immediately. But on Powder Blue, which I didn't realize because I bought this album. I bought a used CD copy that was
I guess like a test press version.
Oh yeah.
And it said like not for resale on it.
I would buy a lot of those too. I believe my copy of Stig by the Melvins is one of those.
But apparently, what you'll notice, everyone who heard this, listen to it streaming or whatever, the song ends right after Gene says Muhammad Ali. When he introduces Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah.
The version I have is an old version that was mistakenly pressed, and it goes on for like another 1.5 to 2 minutes, where there's like samples of Muhammad Ali talking, and there's a whole chunk of song. But they actually never cleared that sample.
Oh, okay.
And Elektra sent out the early presses of it by mistake.
Yeah.
So every press since then has the song ending immediately. So, and I just didn't know that until like recently.
Nice little tidbit.
Yeah, interesting. Mr. Richard Smoker isn't even trying to be country. It's basically a show tune.
Yes.
It's the only song that's not country at all.
Yeah. There's silly lyrics. This is the case. Jazzy, loungy.
It's fun. I love it.
And I love when it's like, oh, it's just going to be this pleasant song. And then they're like going to melt your face off with the guitar solo.
Oh, God damn it.
And it's not even really out of place, but it's still like this nice little surprise.
There's still a good amount of surprises on this one. What was it? You Were the Fool, just rules. It's like the most stern and serious sounding country western song on the album. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other ones feel like, oh, we're having fun, we're gonna make a country album. That one feels like, oh, you could put this on any one of their other albums and it'll fit right in as one of like the darker songs. I actually do wish You Were the Fool was the closer. It has a really, really long fade out, which makes you like, it feels like a closer. And then it closes with Fluffy, which is ridiculous. And it's beautiful. It's a great song. It's fucking, those vocals always make me laugh. They always make me laugh.
That's another song. I don't know where. I know I've heard it before.
Oh yeah. Fluffy. I mean, it's super dramatic, but in a jokey way, with actual beautiful guitar lines and violins. It's like, and it has this really good heavy bass in there. Really heavy bass. Great fucking song. And it's also like their shortest album. This is like a half hour long. How long is this album?
A reasonable album.
Yeah, fucking 32 minutes. It's very short. It's succinct. Every song fucking rules. I absolutely love this album.
It may not be why you're here.
No,
but God damn it.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense that this exists, and it makes even less sense that it's this good. It's like,
and Elektra is cool with it.
And they were just cool with it.
Or they probably weren't, but you're like, oh, fuck it.
And if you look at the cover, it's like, it looks like some generic, shitty greatest hits country thing where you didn't even like it. It's just the funniest concept.
Yeah. This is going to put this album, the first Wheeler album, as like
my two favorite country albums.
You think these are normal country albums,
but they're fucking silly and they're great. I can't believe it landed. It's funny, hooky, smart, and fun, but it's a novelty album that just simply rules. Mm-hmm. It's just bizarre. And they had like actual real Nashville players, Buddy Spicker or Spitzer.
And then shout out to Bobby
Ogden from his TCB band. Hell
taking care of business.
Hell yeah, there's all kinds of people like legit players on here. But yeah, I mean, fucking weird detour of an album, but really solid. But now we are on to another big one. Mm-hmm. Another big one, everybody. Here we go. You ready?
Ready.
Hell yeah. This is 1997's The Mollusk. One of their jokiest, most novelty songs that makes me emotional.
I don't know for sure. I know.
You can lower me one.
Okay. I know this band and specifically this album influenced like the creation of SpongeBob, but I feel like this entire song
is SpongeBob.
Like I totally get why they were like they fucking unintentionally created a
iconic cartoon
that's been running for like 15-20 years.
This song actually makes me emotional. It's so sweet and innocent and actually beautiful. It's a children's song.
Yeah.
But it's like
it's cute and like completely innocent.
I would expect nothing less from a man who loves ragtime and circus music. This is really on brand. It's really on brand for you, actually.
It really is. So, I mean, that is one hell of an opener. It's like not the title track is really like the opener, but that's how the album opens up.
Yeah, this is like the closest thing you can get to like an epic Saturday morning cartoon album. I get the hype around it. This is one of the ones I'm like, I get why it's popular. I'm going to revisit this once I've cleansed my palate.
Best personal favorite by so much. This is like one of my,
like
by
fucking clears it for you.
This is the reason that I became a crazy Ween fan.
Okay.
Like, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's one of the best albums ever made. I think it's one of the best paced albums ever made.
Oh, shit.
I think this is like genius shit. I think it's both Dean and Gene's favorite album as well. So for one, it does the thing that they do of like, oh, we're going to fuck with a bunch of different genres, except they're not quite as obvious about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like, oh, here's the funk song and here's the soft rock song and here's the reggae song. It's more like different flavors of songs. So you get like that, which is, the opener, a novelty children's song. And then you get a thing like Mutilated Lips where it's like, all right, it still has like the pitch shifted vocals and it's kind of quirky, but it feels very psychedelic and ethereal and dark, but not heavy and like brooding or sad. It's just this kind of, pardon the pun, but like watery kind of ethereal, spacey type of song where it's kind of hard to pinpoint an emotion to that song. And then you get shit like Waving My Dick in the Wind, which is like, it's just fun and jokey and lively and fast and cute.
Also, keeping in theme with cartoons, like, that's some Ren and Stimpy-ass guitar lines there.
Oh, dude. So I can talk endlessly about pretty much every song on here. So the title track is one of their all-time best. It's fucking brilliant.
I can't even put into words really what is going on there with the guitar, but I love the guitar playing on that title track so much.
That little sample, it's like, I believe it's a synth sample of sorts. And it just activates something in my fucking brain. A lot of this, not every song has like a water theme to it, but the songs that do really feel like it.
Yeah.
Like that song, that little sample makes you feel like you're in a fucking underwater world or something. It's just it's vibe to it.
It's Isis, Oceanic, Mastodon, Leviathan,
and Ween the honestly, yeah. Yes, actually, yes. Check out our episode on Isis. And then Polka Dot Tail is just, it's like a really, really moving melodic waltz, really beautiful vocal lines, but the bass is so fucking deep and heavy. There's just these crazy textures all over.
Yeah.
The mixing on this album is actually really phenomenal.
Maybe one day when I can't sleep, I've always like wondered what the like, there has to be some sort of reason what the like thing with like waltzy music in the ocean is.
Yeah.
Even like the Mario level. Like it seems to be a theme that is revisited by different artists.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. I mean, I suppose if you think about like the way the waves move, it's almost like a waltz.
Someone's gone. Yeah. I know I'm not the first person to put this together.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll Be Johnny on the Spot is a very fast rocker with a really thin and cheap sounding distortion with a corny drum machines. It's like dorky and corny, but it's still well written, cool song, and it really fucking cool solo too, with all kinds of shit on it. It's effects.
It's an like unconventional ripper.
Yeah. Very strange. Man, I can't believe the diversity of this album. It's fucking bananas diverse. Every song is so fucking different. The Blarney Stone is a full-on sea shanty sung by Dean with legit pirate vocals, accordions, the sounds of drunkards in the background. Yeah. And it's fucking so beautiful and catchy.
You know, it's funny. I went to a barbecue lately where I didn't really know too many people. This, kind of putting myself out there. There's this character there. And this guy was trying to like talk about sea shanties. Everybody's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I do. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he was just like so frustrated by everybody else that he made everyone listen to sea shanties.
What a fucking asshole. That dude should not be invited again.
He's a maniac.
I'm scared of that guy.
No, I'm so glad he was there.
That's fucking rad. Making an entire party listen to sea shanties.
He also really needed to express that he's not an anime guy.
Sometimes you got to put it out there.
But he really loves One Piece. And he repeatedly kept saying, I was like, look, man, if you want to be an anime guy,
you can be an anime guy and not be a weirdo.
I'm like, who hurt you? Did you make fun of anime guys in high school?
Dude, if you're gonna say you're not an anime guy and then you're gonna name drop the one that never ends,
that has like 1,000 episodes, you're an anime guy.
I'm sorry, buddy. By default, if you would have picked Dragon Ball, everybody who likes Dragon Ball,
that's the Bob Marley of anime.
Exactly. You doesn't mean you like anime. It means you like Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
All right. That's established. We've established that very early on. You fuck with One Piece. I'm sorry, bud.
Sorry, the Ween episode felt like a good time to bring that up. And this maniac talking about sea shanties in 2023 at a bar. Sorry, back to this delightful
genius album, in my opinion. It's Gonna Be All Right is another all-time favorite. It is a heartbreaking, beautiful, atmospheric ballad. I think it's one of the strongest ballads, but like, it's a song where, again, if you give me a song that sounds like that, I'll probably think it's cheesy and kind of, trite, if that's the right word. But it's just so well written. It actually feels so fucking sad. I'm sure I've cried to that song at some point in my life.
Again, they've managed to take Maggot Brain, the song, and just write a million other songs off that one song.
It's so impressive because I think, this is truly one of the best paced albums because everything has a different energy, and you can have a different energy and a different tempo and a different thing to kind of keep your interest with any album, but very few are this fucking interestingly written and flat out catchy. Like following It's Gonna Be All Right, which is this heartbreaking ballad. You get The Golden Eel, which is total different fucking vibe, kicks so much ass.
That is up there with the Mollusk, where I'm like, how do you describe this song with words?
Yeah.
I can try. It's kind of like, I've called other songs like minimal, like quiet epics, and this kind of is, but then like the guitar solo goes from like 0 to 60. And it's just like, I also like the 1-2 punch of Golden Ale and Cold Blows the Wind.
Cold Blows the Wind. Jesus Christ. Like I said, the pacing. It's somehow the most perfect thing to follow it up with. It's this heavy, dark, fucking acoustic dirge.
Yeah. Kind of
Western, but even darker. Like the darkest thing they've done with an acoustic guitar. And then
it's very weird. We've talked about like 2 songs on other albums where it's like continuations, and it's not really a continuation, but it's so hard for me to picture like those 2 songs separate from each other. I need to hear them together. I can't describe exactly why. I just
shit. Cold Blows the Wind. I mean, Jesus Christ. So I love the vocals on that because they're so subdued and calm and quiet and pretty. And then this fucking insane, I think it's a synth solo comes in, and it's a really cool texture for one, but the solo that it's playing behind the vocals, it's just so fucking great, and it keeps building and building. Wonderful song, one of their absolute bests, one of my favorites at least. And then after that, you get Pink Eye on My Leg, which is a really cute instrumental that is a perfect palate cleanser. Like, all right, you just sat through this intense shit right here. Here's a quick instrumental. It's calm. It's funny. It's just, it's very easy. It's a very easy song. It doesn't really do much.
You know what? Weird, not a cartoon, but a video game, but in the same spirit as weird cartoons. And I was like, fucking, this is a Bug Snacks ass song.
Bug Snacks ass. Man, that's a deep cut even for gamers.
I don't care. It's such a weird. It is almost the Ween of video games.
Fuck, I haven't played it.
Check out Bug Snacks, where little weird Muppet people eat bugs shaped like food that turns them into said food.
You know, like Ween.
Like Ween, and it's actually a video game about depression. Like Ween.
Jesus Christ, it's fucking bizarre.
I love, yeah. I don't know, Ween and Bug Snacks. It makes sense.
I don't think it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It makes Bug Snacks.
Makes bug sense. Fucking. I have to talk endlessly about Buckingham Green because I think it's one of the best songs. I would call it one of the greatest songs ever written.
Yes. Which is impressive because there's, you know, they've set you up with a few epic songs.
Yeah, this this album is full of that shit.
And that song says "Hold My Beer."
It's insane. It's
only 3 minutes.
It's only 3 minutes. It feels like a total epic. It feels like it's taking you on this giant ride. And what I find so impressive about this, and basically a fucking lightning strike of like luck, that song is this late in the album, and you don't feel like it's too late in the album. You don't feel like you waited you don't feel like you have to skip songs to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
With a song that good, for a lot of albums, it's like you put that earlier in the album to fucking keep the interest, to fucking, pump it up a little bit. It's track 12, and it feels more like this album would have been amazing without this song. And then with this song, holy fucking shit. It's just such an impressive pacing and sequencing of songs.
I would call it the cherry on top, but there's like 2 more songs. It's almost like the whipped cream.
It's the whipped cream layer. It's has so much character. It's mature. It's moving and emotional, but seriously sincere. Has this amazing classical guitar solo. It has these fucking kettle drums that come in the final minute, and it's just it's flawless. And then how do you follow a song that fucking powerful? With Ocean Man.
Catchy pop for Ween.
You could only follow it with fucking Ocean Man. The funnest, most catchy, stupid, cute, amazing song ever. I love it. I mean, it is their most famous song, but I think it's fucking, I've always loved it. I think that my gripe with this album, my ultimate gripe, is that it didn't end with Ocean Man. I think that should have been the closer. She Wanted to Leave has always been a skip song for me. It's always been my least favorite song. It's a fine song. It's actually a good song. It's just the album felt so complete after Ocean Man. It felt like the album is done. So you could have put anything after that and it would have been like, all right.
Yeah.
It's still good, but it's not going to be as good. I kind of wanted the album to finish with that.
It's a victim of Ocean Man, this being too good.
It's not even just too good. It's like a weirdly perfect closer for this type of album.
In my head, I always pictured like Ocean Man being like an opener.
It could be an opener. That's the thing with certain songs. I've always felt this, like if a song is a good opener, there is like at least a 50-50 chance it could be a great closer.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one, it could definitely be an opener, but looking at what the album was and all the crazy places it went, all the range it has with emotion, to end with something that fun and happy and uplifting, it seems kind of perfect considering it opened with something kind of similar.
Yeah.
I think it's just it would be a perfect bookend. She Wanted to Leave is still a cool song, but it doesn't carry enough like oomph for me or memorability.
Not enough weight.
No. It also has like the secret song, quote unquote, is like a reprise of the opener, which is kind of it's like a psychedelic version of the opening song, and it's very nice, pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, this was not the first Ween album I heard. I think it was the second one I heard. The first one I heard, we'll talk about later, and I was like, oh, all right, maybe I'll get to another album at some point. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard this one and I realized that I'd started with the wrong album. I was like, oh shit, I need to buy every album. After this album made me buy every fucking album.
Man.
Yeah, this is a game changer. This was one of those big life-changing band album moments where like, all right, now everything is going to be different because now I have this band in my life and this album.
I could see that. I still think it's amazing. It's one of the 2 I'm going to most likely
return to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
it's just one of those things that I'm the fact that it exists makes me happy that like this album, that it nailed it on every level with the crazy diversity and the incredible songwriting and just the goofiness and the silliness and it's just like, it's jokey and fun, but not in like a stupid corny way. It's like, oh, they're just having fun, but also they're incredible songwriters.
Yeah.
I will fucking return to this forever and ever and ever. I mean, it's just one of the best fucking albums I've ever heard. And again, if you don't like Ween, I'm sorry, whatever, but fuck, man, this album rules.
It's a great in like weird rock and roll bands and the spirit of like Devo and stuff like that. It is yeah,
there's so much to chew on here.
Also, it is like one of the more like accessible things in like weird rock and roll.
Yeah. I've pushed this album on to so many people.
Yeah.
And friends of mine that like have no interest in the music I like, I'll have it on in the car. They're like, yeah, this is actually kind of, what is this?
Oh yeah.
Oh baby. Or I'll just be like, just fucking listen to this one. And they'll be like hardcore fans of this album.
Oh,
it's happened a few times.
Yeah.
It's just, this is the one to start with. I would say this is the one to fucking start with.
Yeah.
It's just, it nails everything.
Yeah. As someone who's new, I would say this one,
chocolate and cheese,
and then one other one. Those are like very different points of where the band is at and what they do, and all three are just completely different, and depends on the person, but this is a very beloved album and I can see why.
Looking at these fucking Wikipedia scores, I want to kick someone in the face because those should be perfect scores. I've seen worse albums get perfect scores. You go fuck yourself.
Mike's is seething in television over here.
Television, fucking The Clash, all bands I like. Check out those episodes. But anyway, my best and personal favorite, it's been from the very beginning and it will be until forever and ever and ever. It's you got to hear it. If you have any interest in Ween, you can't miss this one.
Yes.
But it's time to move on. You ready?
Wait, because I don't want to set you up for fail. Are we talking about Craters of the Sack?
So, Craters of the Sack, I think we should talk about that when we cover the compilation.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of overlapping songs there.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Yeah. After this, Craters of the Sack was leaked by Dean. And then it was taken down and then it was bootlegged. It has a bunch of songs that are going to be put out on a later compilation that we are covering, and we'll talk about it more there.
Okay.
But next is the next official full length. This is 2000's White Pepper. The name of the album is a very not subtle homage to the Beatles.
I thought it was for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That would make me not like this album, Alex. But this is the Beatles album, essentially.
They're very like echoey. I could hear the Beatles stuff.
Several songs here are very Beatlesy, but not every song. Already, this doesn't really sound like anything off the Mollusk. It already has a different feel to it. Similar, but a different feel. Love that guitar line. Sparkly clean.
Crazy production.
It's like the cleanest, best production. I'd say the Mollusk is better production, but this is the most expensive production.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Also, if you listen to Gene's voice here, listen to the way he's singing, the way he's kind of pronouncing words. This is a new style of his that kind of starts on this album that he'll do forever after this. Oh, that's a cool fucking solo. Oh, we got to keep moving. But I do love that song.
Yes.
was it that vocal style where he starts really pronouncing things almost in a Steely Dan kind of way, except much better.
Y'all don't say that.
Check out that episode. I didn't realize until like right now, he doesn't really do it before this album. And then from here on out, he does it on every album. That's just how he sings now. Even live, he sings that way. But I love this album. I really love this album, actually.
It's a very cool addition to their crazy ass discography.
Yep.
Fucking Bananas and Blow.
I knew it was coming. That is it's one of my lesser favorite songs on here because it's just so goofy and jokey, but it is fun. It is funny. It is cute. It is kind of catchy. I mean, it is catchy.
I love it. Reminds me of this Ringo Starr song called No No No, where it's like no, I don't drink anymore. He starts off with alcohol and then the drugs get progressively worse.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Very much in the Ringo silliness.
But yeah, Bananas Blow is just a Latin tropical joke song. A lot of steel drums in there.
Hell yeah, brother.
That chorus, I don't like love it, but it is really catchy. It's stuck in my head already.
Yeah.
But before that, I think the pacing of this album is fucking incredible too. Flute to the Chi is such a good follow up. I mean, it's such a good follow up.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the opener, but
Beatles influence pretty heavy.
So of course you're gonna get like the Middle Eastern influence on some of these.
That solo around 2:10 is haunting, and I think it's like reverse guitars. There's a lot of reverse guitar sounds here, but the solo is fucking incredible. That song is amazing.
At this point, I should know not to expect the unexpected, but a fucking like Motorhead tribute song,
Stroke a Race,
just caught me off guard in the best way.
It is one of the heaviest things I've ever done. It is chunky and mean. It's high energy. It's fun. It rules. It absolutely rules.
Yeah.
Was it Even If You Don't is the most Beatlesy song on the album?
Yeah. I didn't know this was like a Beatles thing, so it's in the same vein. I was just thinking of like ELO, because ELO is
episode 1.
Yeah, it's a Beatles. They very unabashed, but they actually like worked in the synths and stuff. So I'm sure the Ween boys like some ELO.
Oh, of course. Even if you don't, it's like super Beatlesy because of that verse. I remember my mom hearing this too, and she's like, "Oh, that's just the Beatles." Just like the way, first of all, the drum choices in the verse and the type signature. It's like, oh, that's fucking Beatlesy as shit.
Yeah.
Not to mention the pianos in the intro is like, it's very. It knows what it is. What I didn't know is that the video for that song was directed by old Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Oh, that makes sense.
They are friends of South Park. South Park had a concert where they played all the music from the show, and Ween and Primus both played on it, which was delightful.
I don't think those fans should get together, although the Venn diagram is probably a circle.
Yeah. If you like Ween and Primus, you also like South Park. You have to.
I ment the Ween and Primus.
Oh,
fans.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It was actually very fun. On some songs, everyone was playing at the same time. Ween played a few. They played the Mollusk and a couple other songs. I forget. Primus, of course, played some songs. It was a cool concert, but it was at Red Rocks too. But
one day I'm going to see a concert there.
It's one hell of a venue.
It looks so beautiful.
Beautiful. Ice Castles. I really love that one. I really love that one. I've heard people kind of bash it a little bit, but I don't get it. I think it's a devastatingly gorgeous little instrumental.
Yeah. Some of these songs I'm like, did I typo? But no, there's Pandy Fackler.
Pandy Fackler, yes. What's funny, Alex? Pandy Fackler?
Yeah. I realize they sometimes it's just fun to hit, like if some annoying kitschy song gets stuck in your head, sometimes it's just fun to replace the lyrics with like Wheeler Walker it up and like make it about like drugs or sucking dick. It's just funny.
Yeah.
And then I realize Ween does do that quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
And that is a great example because there's lyrics about sucking dick in there. And then there's just like a Herbie Hancock sounding like jazz piano, like
Yep. There's a lot of saxes in there too.
yeah.
It's fucking really well done. Great guitar
Imagine
lines.
if it was just Herbie Hancock.
We got Herbie Hancock for this Ween album.
I feel like he'd be down. Maybe I like to think Herbie's cool.
Let's hope so. What was it? The Grobe has some really cool fuzzy guitar tones on there. Kicks so much ass. Another one of the heavy songs on there. It's almost metal.
It's more Melvin's like.
Yeah. Fucking killer riffs, man. I love that song. Some more Beatles influence in Stay Forever.
But country.
Little bit country western. Some slide guitar in there. That's nice. Falling Out is a mean country rocker. Fucking awesome.
It's crazy in a band with a bunch of crazy songs. I would say that's one of the more like, there's nothing where it's like, holy shit, it's just a really good song.
It's just a great song. It's just a fucking straightforward, simple, amazing song. She's Your Baby, I think, is a relatively weak closer, but a solid song. Very somber, some nice layers there. Again, very Beatles sounding, but nothing like blatant.
Also with songs like Bitch Baby or Baby Bitch.
Baby Bitch, yeah.
It's kind of funny because baby's in the title. Shout out to Robert Plant. Baby. I wasn't expecting a genuine, sincere song you could play for your first dance at your wedding. Like,
wait, which one?
Oh, She's Your Baby.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like you could play that at a wedding. No one will bat an eye.
Yeah. Several songs here wouldn't even, maybe not a wedding dance song, but like Flute to the Chi. Yeah, put that on in front of anybody. It's fucking beautiful. It's just nice. I think it's a fantastic album. I think this wouldn't be a bad entry point either.
There's this. It's a big discography, and some greatness gets lost in the shuffle of other things.
The thing about this album that I've always felt, it's like the first album in a while to not be, it's diverse, but in a very specific way. Like it's diverse in a way that I feel like Pure Guava is. It sounds nothing like Pure Guava, but whereas you name 3-4 different songs on that album and they all sound completely different, but as a whole, you recognize it as this type of thing.
Yeah.
They're doing this type of thing on this album, even though it's all different inside of it. That's what I feel about this one. Like, even though Panty Fackler and Stroker Ace and Flute to the Chi all sound completely different, they all kind of fit together as this one cohesive thing. Whereas you look at Chocolate and Cheese or the Mollusk, they're really different in there. They fit, they work as an album, but it's like, you notice like that's a fucking different song.
Yeah.
Here it all kind of gels. It feels a lot more samey, even though it's still diverse. So in that sense, it kind of works as like a shorter album. And I think it's very just consistent that way. It's not like the most outstanding thing, but still has some of their best songs, still super consistent, still love it. Yeah, I think it's one of the best, but time to move on. We got a couple left. We're doing it, baby. We're pushing forward
in the end game. Kind of. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah. There's a few left. There's a couple left. I think
got some
3.
Taco Bell in me.
Yeah, I know. But now we are on to another big one. Here we are, baby. This is 2003's Quebec.
Appropriately titled. It's gonna be a long night.
Oh yeah. Another hard rocking, unlike Ween type song.
This is just fucking killer garage rock.
And it's sung by Dean. That's Dean on vocals. It's so fun. So fucking catchy. So that's a killer opener and
a misleading opener,
to say the least, dude.
Best personal favorite.
I am delighted
I'm glad that you gave this, because this was my first Ween album.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how to feel about this band. I'll come back to them maybe in the future. It was a horrible first album for me. But I do love the album.
Yes. This kind of hit me in the feels the way other albums didn't.
Yeah.
It's not even really that weird.
I disagree. I think it's very weird. Maybe not for us, but like for normal people, this is fucking nuts.
I think it's just like one of the greatest like psychedelic albums ever recorded. And I wasn't expecting that at all, let alone from like a more modern album.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's 20 years old now. Holy shit. But it caught me off guard in the ways like everyone wants to get caught off guard when you're listening to new music. And yeah, it's just like I think there's weirder, more unique things, but where I'm at in my life, this is like every song rules, and it feels so good start to finish.
This is, I think, by far their most diverse album.
Yeah.
It is one song to the next. The jumps they're extravagant.
Yeah.
Like this is where I was talking about with the last album being like, they're different, but you can kind of paint it as a whole. Like they kind of fit together. They're kind of a little bit samey in the same writing style. This is not that. This is the opposite. This is every song is fucking whiplash from the next one, from the one before it. So the opener, you get that Motorhead style rocker, which is fucking really catchy, high energy. And then Zoloft comes on. I remember when I first heard that, I was so confused. Like I was jarred because it's just this bossa nova elevator music. I mean, it's like, what the fuck?
It was about antidepressants.
And it sounds like it should be in a Zoloft commercial.
Yeah.
It's perfect for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how like a young me would react to this, but me right now, this loves it.
And yeah, I'm trying to think of my initial reactions when I first heard this, because it was like, I liked it, but there was a lot of songs that I was like, that's kind of, I don't know, kind of corny. Like I still don't really like Transdermal Celebration that much.
I disagree. I love it. There's like, because I'm so used to them not staying in one thing. I think the common thing that holds this together is how many times they go to like surreal, dreaming, ethereal stuff. And I agree they did do that on the Mollusk a lot, but I think that's just like, it's its own animal. And then this is like, if you think they're gonna get away from it, it always like lures you back in.
There was a lot of like moments of little islands where you could, like, you're swimming in the psychedelic ocean and then you find a little island to stand on. Like Transdermal Celebration is like one example of that. Tried and True, which is another one of the most famous songs. That's another like, all right, this is a song I can like plant my feet on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful, like emotional, straightforward, earnest song. And then in between though, you get so many people in the neighborhood. I mean, what the fuck is that song?
That is like weird and industrial sounding.
That is a song that is so crazy. I don't know how to feel about it. I can't even describe it. It just must be heard.
Yeah.
And do I love it? 100%. It is completely grown on me, but I can't possibly pitch it to anybody. It's just fucking hilariously weird. Among His Tribe is fucking gorgeous. That one is another really wilderness kind of feel to it, very acoustic and dark.
Yeah, one of the like, I don't really hear people that successfully like channel Nick Drake, but of course Ween can.
Yeah.
It made me think of Nick Drake, and I was like, of course Ween could fucking like nail it and make it their own.
That's amazing. Actually, before I don't want to sound like I shout on Transdermal Celebration too quickly, because like there's a recurring moment. The first time is like a minute 20, but it does return to it. It's just so fucking beautiful. It hurts. It's so fucking, and then the solo fucking rules. It is a good song. It's just not one of my favorites. And then Tried and True.
Try going back to your island metaphor. That is an island song smashed between two fucking
insane because it's this beautiful song. It's this incredible main riff. The low pitch shifted vocals kind of bother me, but I mean, it's just a fucking really great song, and it really cool use of sitar effect toward the end. And then following it, you get Happy Colored Marbles.
deranged and unsettling.
Love it. So kooky, so strange. Damn it, it's so well written.
I will say, and even though there's two weird songs, they aren't like, I guess Zoloft is, but like, Hey There, Mr. Fancy Pants feels like the first like very overtly like dancing in the show tonight.
Yeah.
Funny. Gimmicky.
Children, silly, kind of cute. But the funny thing about that song is I believe, I mean, my opinion, it is one of the most legitimately insane and impressive guitar solos Dean's ever done on Hey There Fancy Pants.
Yeah, I think that's it's my favorite like guitar playing in the whole discography.
It's insane on that song.
I mean, this whole album, like
it's fucking wild.
Talk about the guitar playing on every song, but that would be boring.
In terms of psychedelic stuff, I mean, you go to Captain, that's holy shit.
So good. I feel like they've like always like tapped into like Bowie or the Beatles, but here it's like in some of the like Pink Floyd shit.
Yeah, it's so chilling, and it's only 4 minutes, but it feels like it lulls you in this dreamlike state. It's a very beautifully dark song.
Yeah, I love the like electronic start stop grooviness of the fuck jam. Like,
dude, the fuck jam. I mean, it's another song where you can't point to a single other song in the discography that sounds like it. You can't. I can't point to a single fucking song in the world that makes sense to compare that to. It's instrumental, but with these batshit crazy electronic textures, and like you said, the stop starting kind of thing. It sounds like something's malfunctioning in the song. The song sounds like it's malfunctioning.
Yeah. And then the two songs that this like sealed the deal for me.
The closers
are, I guess, three. Yeah.
Alkin Road
and the Argus. After those two, I was like, yep, this gets it.
And then it still ends with If You Could Save Yourself.
But for me, those two are like the most surreal, ethereal songs they've ever done, and they're just like beautiful psychedelic songs. I wasn't expecting from this band at all.
Alkin Road makes Captain sound like a pop song. Like
does.
That's how deeper and moodier and spacier and more hypnotic it gets. Fucking awesome. The Argus is, I'm saying it again, one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah.
It's structurally, melodically, and musically perfect. I think it's unlike anything they've ever done, which is funny because it doesn't seem like this weird venturing into like new territory. It's just a type of song they never tried before.
Yeah.
But it's so mature. It's so fully realized. It's gut-wrenchingly beautiful with these delightful twists and turns. It's a masterclass in songwriting. I think the Argus is flawless.
Also, like in past episodes, I've shat on these like newer bands who like half-heartedly do this like shitty lo-fi psychedelic guitar or garage rock, where I feel like they're doing it because they realized it's easy to do.
Yeah.
And this is just like, you can never fucking, like, I know it's like a high bar to set with Ween, but it's like, even if you just had like 1/10 of what they were doing here.
Yeah. Because you can try all these crazy styles that they're doing. I mean, they're fucking, the fact that they even thought of some of these styles, like,
yeah,
you have to be a kind of a wacko, but even if you could try to mimic some of the styles they're doing, you can't mimic how good these songs are written.
No. And to just like be able to do it without feeling like I don't care about like your jerk off psychedelic worship, like listen to some new bands. It never feels like that.
This is truly two unique dudes making an album that has never been made before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fucking crazy.
And then, yeah, If You Could Save Yourself is one of the like best closers.
I think it's their best closer.
Yeah.
By far. Yeah.
It's the big orchestral ending. Brilliant.
The fact that, first of all, they didn't end the album with the Argus is like, holy shit, you must be pretty confident about what you're going to end it with. It manages to follow the Argus. It's like a completely different type of song with this crazy buildup and very emotional, giant and thin choruses, but heartbreaking. One of their best, and it's just as good of a closer as the Argus would have been.
Yeah,
it's just like, I don't know how they ended it with such incredible songs. It's just two of the best in all of music.
Yeah, fucking man. Yeah. It's like a whirlwind of emotions. And I was like, oh fuck, what am I going to give best? And I was like, unless these next two albums would have to be like fucking crazy
home runs. Yeah.
And they're not bad.
No. Yeah. This one still, I have problems with them. This one's still like, I don't want it. It feels like it's one of those island songs where it's like, all right, here's a normal song for you to hang on to, but it's just not as strong or memorable. It's still not a bad song, but this was just a bad introduction for me, because when you have no idea what the band is or what you've never heard a single song, you don't know anything, and then you come into this, you have no idea what they sound like. Still, you listen to this, you don't know what the band is.
Also, I think if you're younger, to kind of sound like a broken record about things that have been said about this album, in a weird way, it is a little more mature, although I don't know if they'll ever be mature.
It's still very silly, but like some of the songs are like obviously not just the closers, which are super duper mature, but even Tried and True, which is like a more accessible, kind of bouncy pop song. It's still really emotional and dark. And it's just so fucking crazy diverse.
Yeah, at a lot of points in my life, this album would have gone over my head. But
yeah. I wonder now if I discovered the band later and I started with this, would it be different? But it's just it's a more difficult album.
Yeah, I almost wonder like how it like maybe like someone who only listens to like classic rock, like what would play better for that type of person? Like if they would gravitate more towards like this or the Mollusk, because they're both their own like unique brands of psychedelia, and they're both awesome and unique. And it's just very interesting.
It's also amazing how different they sound from each other. Like, there's nothing in common between the two albums.
Every album is just
basically that, but like, I guess that's just what it is. Just finding the right entry point, because the Mollusk was like, oh, okay, I need to hear everything now. I kind of get like this band can do everything. This is like, I don't know, listening to it now, it gives me these, I get more feelings listening to this album than any other. Because there's something about these songs that just have way more resonance. Even if they're not like obviously super catchy on the surface, the way maybe some other songs are, there's something that just kind of rings with them.
Yeah, it stays with you like a nice bowl of chicken soup on a chilly day.
It's exactly what it is, baby. And Alex's best and personal favorite. This is a fucking phenomenal album. It's difficult and crazy diverse, hilarious, weird, but truly some of the best songs ever written.
Has the surreal, psychedelic, at times ethereal, to kind of tie it, hold it together, even if there's unhinged maniac tracks.
Some like really spectacular psychedelic stuff too. I mean, Jesus Christ. But actually, before I move on, I saw this little thing. I forgot about this. It's on the wiki. It says music critic Mark Prindle, who we've name dropped many times in the past and who actually gave us some
it's Mike.
Mostly me. I grew up reading his fucking website and plugging it all the time on the pod, but he gave us some quotes for our Hammerhead episode, which is very kind of him to do.
I always assumed he was an older.
No, younger. Yeah. Well, older than us, but younger. it says
For a music critic.
Yeah. Music critic Mark Prindle named Quebec the best album of the 2000s in an interview on at the time Fox News Channel's Red Eye with Greg Gutfeld. I remember that segment. I mean, he used to have a recurring segment on Red Eye where he just go and talk about music, and Greg Gutfeld was a fucking Phantom Loss fan and stuff. It was fucking wild. And they were talking about, whatever best albums of that era, of that decade. And I remember he gave Quebec that one. He's like, I'm going with an underdog. And he starts praising this album. He reviewed Ween and he gave this one a perfect score. This was his favorite out of all of them. And that was what made me check it out. I was like, all right, I got to check out Quebec now. And I was like, I don't know how to feel about this band. I think before Quebec came out, he gave the Mollusk a perfect score. And then this one came out and he's like, all right, changed my mind. Yeah.
There are this like albums like that too. Like, for me, when I was a younger person, I remember people jerking off so hard about that Beck album Sea Changes.
Yeah.
And I was like, this better be the greatest fucking thing I ever heard, and just being so let down with it.
Yeah.
But like getting older and going through a few breakups, and I was like,
hits you?
This album is emotional as fuck.
Dude, sometimes it's a time and place.
Sometimes you got to live a little.
I think, Andrew Weiss is back on this album. And apparently, was it Sim Kane plays drums on the opener? And that's Sim Kane's a Rollins band. There's a lot of Rollins band connections. But this is a story you might like.
Oh, yeah. It sounds real smooth.
The story of how Dean used Carlos Santana's gear to record Transdermal Celebration. And apparently this is around the time that Dean and Gene were going through, as Tom puts it, a divorce. Dean was apparently partying too hard, and drummer Claude Coleman was in a horrific car crash in the middle of a recording session, which is brutal. But Josh Freese is on this album.
Oh, shit.
And look at that. The final take on the album.
Although he's the the studio drummer.
But he's on the final take of Transdermal Celebration.
Yeah.
Because of the thing that happened with Claude. But this is the quote from Dean. I mean, Jesus Christ, this story fucking rules. He says, so we're in the middle of this session and I get a phone call from my roadie, who also worked for a backline company that supplied amps, drums, lights, etc. to bands touring the Northeast. My roadie told me that Carlos Santana's equipment, including his guitars, had arrived via a trucking company that night at their depot. Carlos was recording an appearance on Good Morning America the next morning, and
he's probably playing smooth.
Probably was playing smooth. And his equipment was to be delivered to the set in New York City in a few hours. What needed to be done was immediately clear to me. I had an opportunity to play the solo on Transdermal Celebration through Carlos Santana's amplifier and guitar. I had one shot at it. It meant taking a hard disk recorder to a storage space where all of Carlos' stuff was sitting in transit. I arrived at 2 a.m. We, very carefully, unpacked his equipment and set up his stage gear, and in one take, I recorded the guitar solo for Transdermal Celebration, the one that appears on the album, playing through Carlos Santana's guitar, pedal board, and amplifier. I'm replaying the solo in my head right now. Not that one. The whole thing took 10 minutes and we were terrified we were going to get caught. A lot of people would have lost their jobs. We got the fuck out of there really fast after that. So the solo on Transdermal Celebration was played through all of Santana's shit in what resembled an early morning bank heist or something.
Holy shit.
Love it. Love it. God damn it. Oh, man.
And not a as cool story. I may or may not have walked through Maroon 5's practice space once.
The Maroon 5?
The Maroon 5.
All 5 of them, dude. Really?
All 5 of them.
Nice.
They weren't there,
but you saw their stuff.
I saw their stuff.
Not bad, dude.
I was in the room with her. Yeah.
The room.
Or not. Maybe I wasn't.
Oh, maybe, or maybe not.
I don't know what the legalities of this are.
Yeah, if you could talk about that, you could talk about that.
That's true.
But now we're on to the compilation. This came out in 2005. This compiles tracks from most of their eras. And we're also going to talk a little bit about creators of the sack on this section as well, because there's some overlap. But yeah, this is from all eras, early all the way up to like the pod, I believe. But this 2005's Shinola Volume 1. Now this is a weird one.
I don't know. It's About right.
It's after I don't know. It's weird following Quebec. And White
sure,
Pepper and the Mollusk, because this is like, this is from 1990. Like,
Yeah.
This is, dude, listen to this rhythm and tell me it's not the exact same rhythm as Kokomo by the Beach Boys.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Very heavy on the percussive elements. Yeah, so that's it is technically, GodWeenSatan era, but
Yeah.
it does sound like something that could be on pure Guava.
Also, I feel like I'm cheating, but whatever. I'm glad I have an out. I'm just gonna give this Worsley.
I think you're high. I don't think you're that high. I think you're pretty high because this has too many of their fucking best songs ever.
See, you were like, I want to talk about Craters of the Sack. I'm like, okay. So I listened to it.
Uh-huh.
And I think I just kind of like the way that flows a little bit. There's good shit here.
Yeah.
It's a very strong discography. I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm like, I'm going to be lazy. This is a fucking compilation. It's not as much as a full vision as the other thing.
It's not, but with some of the songs here, this whole compilation actually kind of feels like a Chocolate and Cheese Part 2 to me because of the genre hopping. So you get Tastes Good on the Bun, which is it's a goofy early Ween song. And then you get Boys Club, which is one of the funniest fucking Michael McDonald vocals on there. It's
I thought about that too. Yeah.
I think it's a bad song. I mean, I think I can't enjoy it. It makes me laugh like hell.
Yeah.
But I don't enjoy it. But it's like a complete genre shift, the way kind of Chocolate and Cheese did. And then you get I Fell in Love Today, which is one of their fucking best. Love that song.
That song is so cool and sexy. I don't know how it's not by the band Air.
It is very cool and sexy. You're right.
Yeah, you throw on Sexy Boy and Playground Love, and then throw on I Fell in Love Today.
Fell in Love Today. Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, I think it's fucking fantastic. I think it was on the Quebec demos as well. It was around the same time period. Great song. Fucking big fat fuck. Just reeks of early Ween, even though it was apparently 88, 98, 99.
Gets stuck in my head. Great song. Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck is it?
Big fat fuck. It's juvenile. I think it's one of their funnier songs.
It is one of their funny. It sounds like
they just say big fat fuck.
Really, all they say it. It sounds like it should be in a cartoon. It's really that goofy. And then Gabrielle is the Thin Lizzy song.
That's one of the greatest Thin Lizzy tribute songs I've ever heard.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Is it fucking not amazing?
So good.
Dude, it's like, check out Thin Lizzy episode. So it's like, they're doing a Thin Lizzy tribute kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so fucking good? It's as good as a real Thin Lizzy song.
To be fair, I think Ween is, to summarize their whole career, nothing has any business being this good.
It's insane. I can't believe how good it is. It's an all-time fucking favorite. As good as the real Thin Lizzy, but still doesn't feel like, it's honoring them, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel tacky or cheap. Like, now we're going to copy that. It doesn't feel like that. It's just a good song. Yeah.
It never feels, there's tacky and cheap things, but the overall product, it's like Wendy's.
Oh yeah. Quality, fresh,
but still tacky and cheap.
Still tacky and cheap.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know. Did You See Me? I think is one of the most underrated songs. I fucking forgot how good that song is.
This is maybe because it's a compilation and a lot of these were on the cutting room floor. I hate almost every song reminds me of another band. Mm-hmm. And then to also, stick with me. I was much in the same way, Neutral Milk Hotel could never write.
Baby bitch, yeah.
Fucking Porcupine Tree could never.
Yeah, Porcupine Tree stinks. Check out that episode if you hate them like us.
That's the best Porcupine Tree song I've ever heard.
Dude, Did You See Me is so fucking, I mean, it is so good. Like just the production of it too is really well done. I think it was written around the Mollusk time. And it's like, oh man, this is like a really great dark dirge that I kept forgetting about. And then the fucking section at 3 minutes 35 comes in and it's like one of their best riffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's this, I wouldn't call it proggy because it's not like odd or crazy time signature, but it is a little bit you know what? Put on just 335. Not to drag on this episode any longer, but it's just, it pushed you into one of the best songs for me. That section alone.
I'm going to do 330.
Yeah.
Listen to some Aqualung.
Yeah. Oh, and then those fucking synths in the background that kind of fade in. Fucking such a great riff.
Also,
I love it.
Also, I already know the answer to this, but someone on the Discord was like, I wonder who would be like more open to doing they're like, I know it's never going to happen, but I wonder who'd be more open to it, Mike or Alex, Jethro Tull. And I'm like, it's 100% me.
Really? I'd be open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's equal then.
I'm curious. It's actually equal. I don't think I would like it, but I'd be open to give it a shot.
Okay. So there we go.
Yeah.
We were both equal on
we're
that.
both all right. A few other things that I want to gush about that I think are just fucking incredible songs. The riff fucking rules. It groovy and spacey and psychedelic.
Oh, that was interesting because I'm like, yeah, it is more like a Peter Gabriel song to me.
Oh, yeah. You know what I get? Yeah.
And he does venture into those things, but he has a very like strong, like even if it's totally different, if it's like Genesis or his solo stuff, there's something about it where you're like, this is a Peter Gabriel ass song.
I get what you're saying. And then the one I got to gush for an hour about, Monique the Freak, my favorite of all their fucking funk songs.
Like I totally get why How High Can You Fly, Monique the Freak, and Big Fat Fuck, which were on Creators of the Sack.
All three of them.
Yeah, those were like the standout songs.
I mean, Monique the Freak is an absolute all-time favorite. It's I think it's their best funk song. It's like, so this version on Shinola is almost 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good 6 minutes. It feels good. You want to go on for a long time. You don't get tired of it. The original version on Creators of the Sack is 10 minutes and it still rules. I'm on board for all 10 minutes of it.
Yeah. They didn't put Coke on My Dick.
Oh, yeah. And also for Critters of the Sack, let's wrap up Shinola first before moving on. Because you gave it worse, and I do get it with like songs like Transition and Israel, and I don't really like Someday that much being as the closer.
I like Transitions because it was this more yacht rock.
Yeah.
Israel, this current climate, I'm going to stay out of that one, dog. But there's pan flutes in it.
That's my favorite stance. But since the tragic attack is that no one knows how to feel about anything, I'm like, good. Just keep your fucking mouth shut for once.
I don't know. Yeah.
If you don't know, shut up. Just shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
It's like the song. It's like sex. It's a sexy lounge music with a sexy saxophone with spoken word prayer vocals and a flute solo. It's interesting, but I don't care for it much. And then, yeah, I still fucking love the comp, but it is a little bit wonky because of the obvious jumps in time period. But
yeah, like I said, they don't really have a bad album.
No. And yeah, there's just too many of like, I feel like their best songs on here. I mean, there's at least 3. I'm like, or 4. Like, fuck, man. Holy shit.
I think because you made me listen to Craters of the Sack. Although I do think this version of How High Can You Fly is a little. It's only like slightly different.
Well, the original how high can you fly? I think it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
it's mostly the same. I do like this version better. I mean, everything on Shinola is cleaned up and it sounds better. Craters of the Sack is demo quality for the most part. It was a bootleg after all. But speaking of which, what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I mean, like what you said, and the fact that they're all over the place is kind of makes them perfect to be a compilation band. I think that's like a valid point, but I think even if it's very loose, the album camaraderie.
Oh, it's like the glue of the album.
Yeah.
For Craters of the Sack, this is my first time hearing it. I actually never got around to it, which is pretty surprising to me. But all that's gold will turn to black, and the Ponds of Ore fucking rule so hard.
So they don't have that many. So every time they do metal, it fucking rules,
dude. I mean, it's like it does remind me of Primus in spots, but fucking heavy and proggy, and it absolutely rules. And then all it's gold will turn to black is like it's basically like them doing prog rock.
It's them doing War Pigs.
Yeah, and they just don't. They've never done it again. It's just only on that song.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
That's how good these guys are.
So fucking good. The original version of Big Fat Fuck is 7 minutes, and I much prefer the 3-minute version.
No.
Really?
This one.
You like the fucking 7-minute version?
Big Fat Fuck.
Put the Coke on My Dick is apparently from the Mollusk session, which is surprising. It's like coked up hard rock with a cowbell.
So glad they left that off.
Yeah.
They probably could make it work, but really, it has no business.
It doesn't. Yeah, I'm glad they left it out. It's a fine song, but I'm glad I wasn't on the Mollusk. Making Love in the Gravy, groovy, bassy, mean.
Sucking on the devil's dick.
Yeah. More like super low pitch shifted vocals. It's cool. I don't mind it.
Also, the album covers just a picture of a ball sack.
It is a close up of a ball sack, indeed. This version, like I said, of How High Can You Fly is just a minute shorter. There's the Stallion Part 5, which I think is the weakest of all the Stallions.
I think that's the end of the saga.
It is.
Well, for now.
Yes. It's like a higher energy rock song that goes through this Leonard Skinner type of clean breakdown, which I think is pretty cool, but I don't love it. Sucking Blood from the Devil's Dick. It's the closest thing to hardcore punk they've done. It's pretty fucking cool. And then it closes with a 10-minute Monique the Freak, which, yeah.
If you like metal and sex funk, which I do, and to sound like a broken record, Craters of the Sack has no business being that good, but it
is fucking good. It is very good.
And it's kind of, like an unofficial.
It was leaked by Dean, I believe, and then it was quickly picked up. He also leaked the Quebec demos, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I didn't. I should check those out.
Those are cool too. They're very long. I didn't throw them on to this episode because it's a lot of repeats and it's very long.
I'm already tired, Mike.
Yeah. A lot of it's Quebec though. Bunch of Quebec songs, different versions, different vocals. Like someone else is singing on It's Gonna Be a Long Night. It's some other guy. I forgot who it was, but he was singing with like a throat infection.
Oh fuck!
And it sounds like it. It's fucking. It's a crazy version of it. But anyway, Chanel Volume 1, Alex's worst and least favorite. Just by the nature of it being a compilation and a little bit wonky, but I still think it has some of their fucking absolute best songs on there. But very genre hoppy.
As it should be. It's from
all over. Yeah. But we have one left. Is this the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Last album, folks. Get ready.
My body is ready.
Mine too. It's been a long episode. This is 2007's La Cucaracha.
Yes. Fuck. Yes. I wasn't expecting to be like lifted up like this.
It is pretty uplifting.
I wanted this album to suck just so I could have a strong,
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. This song is fucking nuts, though. Yeah, that's the song. It's instrumental. It's a full-on hilarious Mexican trumpets.
I would say if I wasn't a coward and didn't have a compilation to pick.
This would be the worst.
Yeah. It doesn't really, like, there's great songs. It feels good, but it doesn't.
Something's missing.
It doesn't hit the same way the other albums do.
No, this would be my worst. I logically actually kind of want to give this one worst, but I think I enjoy it like as a full album. It's not very long. I mean, it's not short, but it's like 50 minutes. It has really, really good pacing for like the first half, which is actually hard to do that with most albums.
Yeah.
So even though I don't love the second half that much, there's enough to like, I consider this like a really consistent album. Even if it's not like the most outstanding, it doesn't have like too many of their greatest songs ever. It's kind of like, it's like a solid 8 where everything just kind of got toned down. Everything's good, but nothing is like fucking amazing the way it's usually been.
As bands tend to do as they get older.
Yeah. Fucking, I can't justify it. I can't explain it. I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but I love the song Friends so much.
Did you guys hear that? Mike loves Cher's.
Cher?
Do you believe it?
Oh.
Cher's Believe.
What?
I would say whenever I think of like house music, like Friends, I think of that Cher song.
So it's like one of the corniest it's one of the corniest arranged songs ever.
Like every other genre they do, they've managed to just nail house genre music.
It's so dorky and ridiculous, and it's like, how can you possibly take this serious?
I feel like people fuck to house music.
Yes, but as a man with self-respect, I can't listen to it and take it seriously at all.
I love how Mike's like, those circus songs fucked my soul up.
It made me feel. Those circus songs made me feel.
This club music though is too wacky.
So Friends, it's one of the most hilariously dorky dancey things, but if you just look past the ridiculous arrangements,
or if you're just cool,
the actual song is gorgeous. It's a beautifully written song. Those vocal lines are actually really sweet, gorgeous, awesome progressions. It's just a weirdly good song that they decided to play it stupid.
Do you believe in life after love?
Oh god, no more Cher. Object fucking rules.
Okay, that just not like doing a deep dive on their lyrics. To me, that's the most like dark, fucked up,
super misogynistic song. I mean, it sounds like it.
It's because it's objectifying a woman, but it's presented as if they're the one being hurt.
That's actually brilliant.
It's funny because of the way it's delivered.
That's actually kind of brilliant.
Yeah. I was like, they have a lot of like funny songs about sucking dick and doing drugs, and even on this song, which I'll get to. But like that's like the thing. That's like the Frasier haha.
Yeah, the brainy haha.
Because Frasier beats his wife. No, I don't.
I really love that show.
Did you see it's coming back? It's probably gonna suck.
It's definitely gonna suck.
He has a son who doesn't want to talk to him now.
He had one in the original.
Oh, it's probably the same
one. He's
all grown up.
A little grown up. He was a little chubby boy. But Object, the song itself is just really lovely and really brief too.
Anyways, on to more vulgar things.
Like My Own Bare Hands.
That has got to be the most aggressive sexual song, not just for Ween, like in the history of music. Like Luke Campbell's listening to that.
Yeah.
Good job, white boys.
It hits so hard. Like he's like really wants you to suck his dick. I mean, it's just such a hard hitting song.
I'd love to
It's
be your
grimy and sleazy.
I'd love to be your ass checker. Stick it up your ass. She's gonna be my cock professor. And then the best, take a shit on the bitch and fuck Hooba Juba.
What does that mean?
You know, he's gonna shit on chest and probably listening to some CCR.
Hooba Juba?
What was the fucking? I feel like CCR had a lot of like silly, like Adam Sandler, like Hooba Juba.
He did say Chuglin, which
Chuglin, that's the word I was looking for.
I've been saying Chuglin ever since.
And keep on Chuglin.
I sign off my Patreon post with "Keep on Chuglin."
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
shit on a chest, a hoba bow.
Fucking. It is a cool song, though. I mean, despite all that, it is a very cool song. "Learning to Love" is a big hoedown country western, silly bluegrassy, fucking awesome.
You know what? It has been like a while since they've kind of ventured.
Yep. And I mean, it absolutely rules. It's that solo is fucking crazy. That solo is so crazy. It sounds like it would be in the game Undertale. You played Undertale?
Oh shit. Let's just leave it at yes.
Yeah, that soundtrack I think is like one of the best video game soundtracks ever by Toby Fox, I think. Great songwriter, that guy.
I hate it because my godson loves it.
Oh.
I'm like, grow the fuck up, man. Listen to something else. I kid. I love you. I just realized how young you. So there's no reason he should be watching this, but I don't want to.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that soundtrack, like, I think it's one of the best video game soundtracks ever, but I can't listen to it like an album. It's a really bad album.
Yeah.
But in the context of the game, like those pieces of music are fucking brilliant.
It's probably brilliant if you don't have an 8-year-old listening to it on repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But anyway, Learn to Love fucking rules. And then the problems with this album come in with the Fruit Man.
I set this song up.
You sure did 2 hours ago.
10 hours. Yeah.
It is unapologetically reggae.
They do the fucking voice.
They do the voice. It feels like a complete novelty without any of the writing that usually comes with it when they do that. I think it's like a lot of this album when they because they're genre hopping again on this album. A lot of it is not landing for me. The Fruit Man does not land for me.
Spirit Walker, I'm amazed they don't have more T-Pain auto-tune vocals. That's the only one.
It is the only one. I can't believe.
I thought we would do the auto-tune vocals in hindsight.
I remember hearing Gene talk about this. I think on WTF with Mark Maron, like fucking 10 years ago, saying that he thought it was he's just a cool sound to crank it up. Yeah, it's a fucking cool sound. Why not? I think it's one of the most annoying sounds ever. It kind of distracts me.
I have mixed feelings about it.
I learned to like the song. I didn't like it for a long time. But like, there's a section around a minute 30. It's so fucking bizarre and super cool. It's just too interesting and weird not to appreciate, even though the vocals do turn me off.
You know what other song made me laugh a lot? And again, it's not like obviously funny.
What is that?
Fucking
Shainmaker. Oh boy.
I don't want to get too into it because reasons. I fucking hate that fucking whiny
Blink-182 vocals.
I thought it was
so scared.
I thought it was pronounced Blink-182.
Blink-182.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's funny to me, and I say that heaping all the praise on one of the most ridiculous bands ever. I don't know how an adult can listen to Blink-182 and just be like, oh man, this is so fucking so deep. And this
I never liked them. I've always hated them. I'll get shit for that, but I don't care.
I liked them when I was younger. Anyways, just singing in that fucking over the top pop punk Tom DeLonge. It makes me chuckle every time.
It is clearly them poking fun at it and exaggerating those types of vocals. It doesn't, but I still don't like the song. Like you make those vocals not annoying. I still don't care for the song.
I think I was just so tickled by someone like being like, oh, anyone can sing like that. Whatever. It's
really anyone can.
It's low hanging fruit.
I really dig the strings on Sweetheart in the Summer. It's not one of the best or most memorable, but it feels good. It has a nice, a bit of a classic feel to it in like a dad rock kind of way.
Yeah, doing the Beatles ELO thing.
Yeah. Lullaby definitely feels like a lullaby. It's just, I don't know. It's just fine. It has like dreamy elements, some occasional harp. It just doesn't do much for me.
And then I think the song that maybe saved this.
Woman and Man.
I wish he played that with Santana's equipment.
Dude, you don't got that kind of time, dude. That song is almost 11 minutes.
Dude, that's the
it is a great song.
Greatest Santana Yes mashup song, and probably the only Yes Santana mashup song ever.
Probably. It starts off full on hippy dippy psychedelic with the bongos and the tambourines and flutes, and then around 2 minutes in, it starts getting more concrete, and then it gets super proggy. I mean, it's fucking really cool. 10 minutes of hectic jamming, but it fucking works.
That man knows how to jam.
That man knows how to jam. He said it himself.
He can put his money where his mouth is.
Sure can. Yeah. Woman and Man is that. Yeah, that's another underrated track from these guys. It's a fucking crazy song. Closes with Your Party.
Fine.
Which it sounds like it totally reminds me of like a Flight of the Conchords song, especially the vocals.
I did think about that. I wasn't going to go there. I'm glad you did.
It sounds I've always thought that. It has the sexy saxes. The vocals aren't even like joke. It's funny how with Ween this time, the vocals aren't jokey enough to make it seem like Flight of the Conchords.
They should have done the pop punk vocals on Your Party.
Jesus Christ. There were beverages at your party.
That wouldn't make any sense, but a lot of what they do doesn't make sense.
That is true.
To normie people.
Your Party is a very fucky song, but like in a silly way. It's a silly fuck song.
But we've had My Own Bare Hands, which is the ultimate fuck song.
That is a grimy fuck song. I love it, but yeah, it's a good album. I think it's one of the weakest. It would be worst, but I think it's still surprisingly good. Like it's still really consistent.
Every time I think I'm out on this album, it drags me back in.
Yeah, like I think I might have given it worse if after Spirit Walker or after like the Fruit Band, it just took a shit and the rest of it was bad. I would have easily given it worse, but it pulled me back around with Woman and Man and Your Party and even little bits of Spirit Walker.
This is the album where you're like, you've gone on all your adventures and you're on your ranch and then a government helicopter comes in and you're like, I told you motherfuckers I'm out. And this album's like, well, too bad.
They got your daughter, like in Commando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Commando of Ween albums.
It sure is. And then they broke up. I think what happened was, Gene had some problem. He had some booze problems, and for many years, he's bad problem. And Tom notes here, says he had some alcohol problems that came to a head at a Vancouver show in 2011. This seems to have been the beginning of the end for the working relationship of Gene and Dean. Yeah, so Gene wanted he needed to step. He said, I remember him talking about this. He wanted to step away from Ween entirely because it was just too associated with partying and drinking, and he needed to get sober. So he announced the breakup and didn't tell Dean about it. Like he found out.
Odd.
He's like, this is news to me. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And that was bad. And then he went on to put out an album under Freeman. His real last name. So I remember hearing it once. I thought it was okay.
Was it the Maxwell Jacob Freeman experience?
I don't think so. Freeman, not Friedman.
Oh, okay.
But
like in Doom, the Freeman.
No, not. It's too late for this shit. We've been at this for fucking 3 hours.
I'm broken by Pantera.
Broken by.
Also Audio Slave.
So yeah, they broke up, and then I think Dean formed some side projects. I forgot the name of his fucking bands. I'm tired. Sorry, I'm not going to go into all the details of all the side stuff, but they eventually just sort of kind of rekindled the stuff a little bit. Gene readopted the name Gene Ween, and he kind of said something like, this, I did a lot of good things under that. It's kind of wrong to put people know that name. It's not, there's nothing wrong with the name. it was wrong to associate that with the alcohol. And so, staying sober, but I'm back to being Gene. So they've had like many reunions. In August, of 2022, they did the South Park 25th anniversary stuff with Primus, and they've been doing shows sporadically. It's nothing super concrete or consistent, but at least they're around and kicking, and that I'm happy for that. So hopefully we'll see more of Ween. I don't even need them to put out another album because they've just done so much. They've done so much good for the world in my heart, anyway.
Agreed.
But that brings us to the end of our lengthy and very thorough journey. Let's do a little recap.
Best personal favorite, Quebec. Worst least favorite, Shinola, Volume 1. But for me, surprisingly strong, wild, crazy discography. I'm still digesting.
It is pretty. It's a well. It's a well, all right.
I bet some of you losers thought I was gonna fucking hate it. Well,
they'll find a reason to complain about something.
Oh fuck yeah, they will.
For me, best personal favorite, the Mollusk. I think it's just one of the best albums ever made, and fucking a strong place in my heart. Made me a fan for life. Please listen to it. And worst least favorite, the Pod. It is, despite having really some of the fucking best songs, it's just really rough. It's very long and not very consistent.
Just like this podcast.
Yes. Hey-o. So thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. Please support us. Talk some shit in the comments like I know you want to. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you want to hang out for more. Check out all the other videos. Find a band you're interested in. I'm sure we've covered them and watch that episode. You can follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
And please follow our history guy, Tom Osman, at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all things regarding his music. He has 2 albums out right now, and he's working on a 3rd, so go check him out. He does a lot of work for us. Also, check out my EP. It's a link to that in the description. Do that, please. Thank you. And not going to ever forget the thing we need the most. Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go. You get to see you get bonus episodes. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next.
Please sign up. Please, for the love of God.
Oh God, these take so much work. You get to join our Discord, be a part of our community, hang out, make some friends, as well as suggest new albums for us to cover on our EAE singles episodes. And if you're tier 2, that's where you go, baby. You can request a full discography for us to cover on a full episode. That was take 2. That's why Alex is laughing, because I fucked up the first take.
It's not even that funny.
And in addition to requesting a full discography for us, you can also throw out any individual album you want us to cover on a Patreon bonus episode. We'll do individual episodes exclusive to Patreon. So while you wait for the big long episode, which do take a while, throw out some other suggestions and we'll cover them on more frequent episodes. Yes. So go there and do that. Thank you. Now, to wrap it up.
It's all you, baby.
There are 2 options. One is too obvious for me.
I don't care.
But I want... All right. It's between 2 options.
All right.
It is between Buckingham Green or the Argus.
Buckingham.
Buckingham Green?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So
I need to pick me up.
thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.
A child without an eye.